Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our fourth session of Research FLEXI virtual lecture series on conducting research. This today, November 26, 2020. Before all else, let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord for an opening prayer come after the nationalistic song through audiovisual presentation. Dear Father, we offer everything and thank you for everyone gathered here today to walk with you. May we ask you for your blessings and guidance so that the activities set for this undertaking be successful. We ask you to open our eyes to see the wonderful things from this activity. We ask that you to open our ears so that we may return the invaluable knowledge. Open our minds for us to think wisely. Put us with understanding, cooperation, and peace in fulfilling our responsibilities. Open our hearts so that we may receive your everlasting love. And open our spirits so that we may know that we are with all us throughout the day. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay, once again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us again for our fourth session of Research FLEXI. So once again, I'm Sharon Gorospe, I'm member of the Division Research Core Group. So today's topic, we have the introduction to research writing, right? But before that, let us all acknowledge the presence of the following officials of the school's division office. Of course, our school division superintendent, Dr. Jeneline Rose B. Corpus. To all our assistant schools division superintendent, Dr. Freddy V. Avendaño, Dr. Maria Teresa A. Namoro, Dr. Noel D. Bagano, and Engineer Mark Voltaire A. Padilla. So our City Government Assistant, Department Head 3, Dr. Jesusa R. Bechong. Of course, to our OIC and CID Chief, Dr. Ebenezer A. Beloy. To our SGOD Chief, Dr. Maria Teresa A. Namoro. To all our education program supervisors, public schools district supervisors, unit and section heads, other SDO personnel, and all our school heads, welcome to our fourth session of Research FLEXI. So before that, to continue our session, let us have first our visual etiquette to be led by Master Teacher 2 of Quirino High School. Let us give a round of applause, Dr. Rodel R. Rivera. Good morning, sir. Once again, Master Teacher 2 of Quirino High School, Dr. Rodel R. Rivera. Good morning, sir.
Good morning po, ma'am.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning po to our Schools Division of Quezon City officials, to our participants, good morning to each and every one of us. Our virtual etiquette for this morning session are the following. 1. Find a quiet space that is free from any disturbances. Do not make distracting sounds and movements. 2. Keep your microphone on mute until it's your time to speak. Turn it on only once addressed by the speaker. 3. Turn camera off if experiencing difficulty in connection and if not necessary. And 4. Do not shout and interrupt the speaker. In case there is an urgent matter, send a private message or use the chat box to raise your concern. And last, be courteous to other participants. Listen attentively. Participating actively is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Rodel R. Rivera, once again from Quirino High School, Master Teacher 2. Okay, for those who have just joined us again, welcome. So this time, let us have our recap of session 3. So let us welcome Dr. Marlon F. Pasukin, Master Teacher 1 of San Vicente Elementary School. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning. Good morning to all my fellow educators. I hope that everyone is doing great and happy, of course, since we are about to receive another opportunity to learn today. For those who are not yet familiar to
Mamaya may ano na
to
yan,
me,
Martha.
yes, Martha. I am Marlon F. Pasukin po, and I am from San Vicente Elementary
Ay, hindi mo
School.
ginupit.
And my task this
Bakit mo na naman
morning
hindi
is to
ginupit?
link the previous session with the
Pakigupit
topic
po.
that we will be having today, since it is a series of lectures like what we are experiencing when we watch a Netflix series. Session 3 was done last November 6, and that was more than 2 weeks ago. Our speaker was Dr. Marie Paz E. Morales, and she is a professor from Philippine Normal University. Her first topic was all about analyzing the meaning of the data and drawing conclusions, wherein the goals are to infer and explain patterns and themes from the gathered data, and of course, relate these findings with pertinent literature. Dr. Morales highlighted some pointers in writing um, the literature review, wherein keywords such as brevity, themes, and citations were emphasized. She also presented an action research proposal together with the critiquing of task numbers 3 and 4 outputs. She discussed that in analyzing the meaning of data, there are suggested steps on how to organize the item, such as the data preparation, organization, presentation, forming categories, themes, and relating this with the gathered pertinent literatures. The use of tables was also discussed together with the graphs. She described the characteristics of these elements which are necessary in data analysis. Professor Morales emphasized that they have to stand alone, carry a necessary message, labeled clearly, appropriate, and determine what statistical tests produce the results. Various graph samples were also presented during the lecture. Tips in analyzing the meaning of data were also discussed, which mainly focus on the coherence of objectives and themes for results and discussion section. Appropriateness, labeling trends in data, wherein it must be described and be utilized to draw inferences and be used in citing literatures. The techniques in the reporting and sharing of your findings when doing a research were also discussed. And according to Professor Morales, you have to focus on insights and implications of the study. Pattern in doing this was suggested in 6 paragraphs. For her last topic, it was about referencing, wherein she presented some computer softwares such as the BIBME, ECBIB, and the Microsoft Office Word in doing citations. And I think that was the last session's wrap up. Thank you very much for this exposure. Thank you. It's nice to meet everyone. Have a fun and meaningful learning today. Back to you, Ms. Sharon.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Marlon Pasukin. It's a well-said recap. Okay, moving right along to come forward and begin our fourth session of Research Flexi. Once again, the Director, Publication Office of Philippine Normal University. Once again, we miss you, Dr. Maripaz E. Morales.
Hello, magandang umaga po. Hi, Ma'am Sharon. Yeah, I
Hi,
missed you. Ilang linggo, no? Kasi nabagyo tayo. Kumusta naman kayo lahat? Sana okay kayo kahit na binagyo tayong lahat, ano? So, from the summary or synthesis of Sir Marlon, tama ba? Sir Marlon? Okay, we'll
yes,
be
ma'am.
continuing with what to do next after you are done writing your papers or after you're done conducting your action research. Okay, so for today, we'll be discussing, I'll be sharing my slide. Ayan, how to disseminate and how to share our research or generated knowledge out of our research. So I hope that you will be able to have good insights on how you will be able to share your generated knowledge based on your action researches. So, pwede na tayong mag-start po, ano? Ito po ay wala akong masyadong ipapagawa, hindi katulad last time. But then, those of you who are prepared to present, probably later on we can do the presentation also. Okay, so yan. For today, these are our objectives. We wanted to take a look at how to do our research reporting. So we'll be discussing some basics of research writing. Here, I'll be trying to differentiate how to write research reports and how to write research articles. So for those of you who only intend to submit research reports, I'll be giving you some insights. But those of you who wanted to submit your researches, come up with journal articles from your researches, then we can have a discussion on that also. I'll be presenting some article key parts. The article key parts are also synonymous to the research report key parts, only that there are some differences. After the basics of research writing, some of us may not be very fond of doing a research article and using it as a way of sharing our outputs, or generated knowledge. But probably most of us would want to present instead. So I have here on the second part, research presentation. So how are we going to prepare for a panel presentation? My e-presentation, how do I prepare for the defense, kung in case mag-defend, in case lang, presenting my research in a forum or conference. And finally, how else can we share our generated knowledge? So we can probably make use of what you call policy briefs. O ito ngayon ang uso, kasi ang gusto natin ay maka-influence tayo sa policy making bodies, lalo na nasa DepEd tayo. We can probably send our policy briefs to DepEd NCR or DepEd, tama na, NCR tayo. DepEd NCR and DepEd Maine, so that your research may be utilized in their for them when they are generating your policies, yung mga DepEd memos. And finally, how we in the Philippine Normal University can help you share your research reports. Okay, so meron kaming tinatawag na PNU CNAG, and probably we can extend this to you. So, depende kung papaano ninyo siya or papaano ninyo gustong gawin. May mga iba-ibang ways on how to present your research other than research article and research presentation. Okay, so medyo mahaba pero hindi siya talagang training, workshop. So more on insights on this. So moving forward, there. Under research reporting, we'll be discussing about the basics of research writing. We are going to compare research report and article format and what are the different parts of an article or a research report. Okay. Now, me as a writer, so usually if you are in the academe, you spend your working hours like this, in the tertiary level, and siguro hindi nalalayo sa inyo, sa DepEd. 38% of the working hours is spent on research. And then, research lang yun, ibig sabihin data gathering, etc. You have writing papers, it's about 16%, so it takes a lot of time from the whole working hours that you have. 10% is writing grant application. This is synonymous to your action research proposal, which you submit to your superiors or to the division office. Then you manage your classes, or you somehow manage your department if you are a department head or a research coordinator and so on. So that's about 11%. You try to do database on all the things that you research, so that's about 5%. And you do teach, di ba? So we teach, and that's about 20%. Hindi pa dito naka-factor in yung we answer online questions of our students. Okay. Baka nabawasan na yung research dahil doon. Anyway, hopefully hindi. At kasama iyon, hand in hand, yung research at saka yung teaching. Okay? So this is the cycle in research, or the life cycle in a research. Normally, we start with one, your research strategy. Then, from the research strategy, you'll come up with proposals. So, from your proposals, that's the pre-award, you develop your proposal. And then if this is granted, you go on doing research process, and then you disseminate either through publication, presentation, or other means like the policy brief and some things which may use the social media. And finally, from there, kapag disseminate natin, that's the time that we can gather impact of our research. Okay? Sabi nga nila, knowledge which is not shared is actually not a very good thing. Okay? So parang hindi pa natapos yung ating pagre-research kapag hanggang dun lang sa na-research natin. Hindi natin ito na-share sa iba. Okay? Now, me as a writer, sino ba kayo bilang writer? Kayo ba ay isang driver? Kayo ba ay, ang tawag ba sa inyo ay patchworker? Kayo ba yung grand planner or kayo ay isang architect? So ano yung strategy ninyo kapag kayo ay nagsusulat? You start writing early in the process and figures out what you want to say or to write. And usually, you start anywhere. So, pag sinabi ninyong gusto kong sulatin na yung methods, ngayon, as in ngayon, sulatin nyo. So, by patch. I mean, kahit ano, no? You can start anywhere. You're a driver if you're like that. If you're a patch worker, you work in sections. So, usually, you start at the beginning. So, you write the introduction. You tend to link these sections or ideas later on. So, hiwa-hiwalay niyo siyang sinusulat and then later on, you merge them. Okay, so you try to do transitions from writing the introduction to writing the methods and so on. But if you're a grand planner, you first read, make notes, and then pictures essay in your head before making a plan or writing anything. You're a grand planner. But if you are an architect, halos hindi na bilang pag kayo ay isang grand planner, ano, halos pareho lang sa pagiging architect. Sa pagiging architect, you have a structure. So, you know how you would be presenting this section, introduction, how you would present the methods, how you would present the results and discussion and conclusion. It's quite different from the grand planner. Since when you say grand planner, you have a grand plan. Ibig sabihin, meron kayong gustong gawin. Isusulat ko ito. Ito ang nilalaman ng mga ito. Pero wala pang structure. So, if you place a structure inside the different parts of an article or a report, then you are an architect. Okay? So, saan ba kayo ngayon? Sige nga, pakilagay ninyo dyan sa chat box. How do you assess yourself as a writer? Are you a driver, a patchworker, a grand planner, or an architect? Sige, pwedeng sumagot sa chat box. Wow, grand planner si Sir Ian. Patchworker, okay. Patchworker, okay. Okay. Marami sa atin ang, may isang architect. Si Ma'am Aliana. Okay. Grand planner and driver. Okay. So, depende ba sa inalmusal yon, Ma'am Lani? Grand planner. Ayan. So, at least alam nyo kung anong klaseng writer kayo. So, based on what you are as a writer, you prepare yourself for all these things that you need, being a patchworker, a driver, a grand planner, or an architect. Ayan, marami pong sagot. Okay. Grand planner, patchworker, grand planner. Okay. Okay, architect. Oh, meron pang isang architect, si Ma'am Cheryl. Ayan, okay. Combi. Oo, kadalasan combi, no? Okay, thank you very much for your answers, guys and girls. Okay, here is how we can differentiate a journal article, a research report, and a technical report. Okay, so technical report, usually we use this one when we wanted to document a special event. Like, for example, the team of Sir Ian would document the research FLEXI, so yung 5-day series program. So, ang gagawin nila doon ay technical report. So this is one sample of how we can present the technical report. You have the title page, you have the copyright page, you have the editorial team, you have the table of contents, some preliminaries, like for example, messages of those officials of SDO. Then we have the executive summary. The executive summary is synonymous to the abstract of a research report or a journal article. Okay? And then you have the proceedings. So kung ano nangyari, depende na sa design nila Sir Ian. So pwedeng ang design nila, day 1, ano nangyari? Tapos day 2, ano nangyari? Day 3, ano nangyari? Hanggang day 5. Then after the day 5, that's the time they are going to provide the summary. Okay? So from the summary, they construct the references, etc. Ito yung technical report, usually kasama yung mga pictures. So kapag nag-screenshot sila ng mga ginagawa natin, pwede nilang isama. Day 1, pictures ng day 1. Day 2, pictures ng day 2, and so on. So that's a technical report. So for example, you conducted Nutrition Month, mga ganon, and you wanted to document, then technical report is the best your programs or whatever things that you have done. Okay? But it's different when you talk about a research report. Pero report din ito, ano? So when you say research report, you have the title page, acknowledgement. It's more of almost the same as a thesis or a dissertation. Okay? You have the abstract. The abstract would run from 250 to 350 words. Okay lang yun kahit madami. Okay? You have keywords. You have introduction. Under the introduction, you have the following. You include the literature review after the background of the study. Then you have statement of the problem. You have the significance of the study. These are separate subsections. Ano? So, ibig sabihin, may nakalagay sa taas, literature review, and then you do the literature review. Statement of the problem, and so on. And so on. Okay? And then you have the definition of terms. Okay? That makes the introduction. So, familiar kayo dito kasi na marami sa atin nag-thesis or nag-dissertation, di ba? Then we have the methods. For the methods, we try to present this this way, using several subsections also. We discuss the research design, we describe our instruments, in detail our participants. Please note that when we are trying to complete our research report, under participants, we place here the demographic profile. The reason why we do not ask this particular question under statement of the problem. What is the demographic profile? Kasi parang obligasyon natin yon bilang researchers na kunin ang demographic profile ng ating participants. So, hindi na natin siya kailangang gawing isa sa mga objectives natin. Okay? Kailangan yon kasi yun ang ilalagay natin doon sa participant section. You have the study locale. The study locale would also accommodate study context. So, for example, yung local kasi saan lang, 'di ba? Yun ang ibig sabihin. So, pag sinabi nating the study was conducted in Bicol region, specifically this town, which was hit by this typhoon this years. Yung which was hit by this typhoon and this years, yun yung study context. Ginawa ko itong study na to nung time na ganito ang nangyayari doon sa lugar na yon. That's the study context. Usually we write that so that researchers or readers who are reading your report or article would have a good understanding of what was happening during the data gathering. Okay? Hindi natin gusto na ang akalain nila ay idealistic ang nakikita nilang scenario, no? So kunwari, interview. Yung interview pala ginagawa niyo siya sa silong ng mangga or under the mango tree na may baha dyan sa gilid-gilid. Hindi nila alam or nakikita yon. Akala nila nasa isang air-conditioned room kayo, tahimik lahat, baka ganun ang akalain. So we need to write the study locale. Okay? Then you have the data collection, what are the procedures that you have conducted for you to be able to gather the data analysis, and your ethical considerations. Okay? So by standard, research reports require ethical consideration section. Okay? Then we present our results and discussion. In presenting the results and discussion, I'll be discussing later on how coherence should be observed all the time. Conclusion and recommendations. You have references and you have appendices. Note that I am only using black color, okay, for all the things that you can see under the research report. Ibig sabihin, lahat sila kasama doon sa research report. Ganun din sa technical report. But you would have a different view or a different, how is this? I have a different presentation in journal article. Makikita nyo may mga ibang kulay, di ba? Okay? Yung mga ibang kulay, pwedeng meron, pwedeng wala. So, optional sila. Yung red, hindi siya kasama doon sa journal article. But it's a requirement when you are writing a journal article. Okay? So, title page, you have abstract. For the abstract, we usually have maximum of 200. Kadalasan ng journals would only require about 100 to 150 words. So, napakaikli. Okay? So, from a research report, if you have done a research report and you convert it to a journal article, you have to trim down the entire article. Usually, kapag research report, only page yan, only words din. Okay? Pakapalan ang takbo. Pag journal article, hindi. Pagalingan sumunod sa journal guidelines. So, kunwari, ang sabi ni journal, 6,000 words lang ang kailangang i-submit sa aming journal, then hindi kayo pwedeng lumagpas sa 6,000. Hindi pwedeng maging 6,001. Isusoli at isusoli sa inyo yan. Ibig sabihin, i-reject nila agad. Okay? So, you have to follow all the journal guidelines. Ibig sabihin, pakontihan o pakonsisan kapag journal article ang sinusulat. The more straightforward, the better. Hindi dapat paligoy-ligoy ang mga statements natin. Okay? So, for the abstract, 100 to 150 words. I think last time, I asked you to label abstracts, tama? You would notice that would only run for a maximum of 200. Hindi pwedeng lumagpas kasi galing sila sa mga articles. Okay? Keywords. The keywords should be representative of the entire article. Ang keywords, ang gamit niyan ay for indexing purposes. Diba lahat ng mga journal articles ngayon online. So, ibig sabihin, nasa-search sila sa web. For you, for other researchers to be able to easily search your articles, kailangan yung mga keywords na pipiliin natin, madali siyang maisip at matandaan ng mga researchers at connected siya doon sa inyong article. So, for example, gumawa kayo ng, ano ba yung isang research na, ayun, naalala ko na, yung Kaiser, yung one page lang ang ibibigay niyang intervention.
Sir Ronel po.
Sir Ronel, ayun. Pwede niyang ilagay doon, one-page worksheet. Okay? So at least, kapag nag-research si researcher or teacher, tinaype niya sa Google, one-page worksheet, lalabas na isa sa mga articles, yung article ni Sir Ronel. So ganon. Ganon ang significance ng keywords. So for example, ang inyong ginawang research ay yung kay Jam, problem-based learning, senior high school. So mga pwedeng magagandang keywords ay problem-based learning, so that's one word. Filipino learners, senior high school, ayan, mga ganon. Representative siya ng buong article, pero nakukuha niya yung pagiging general in a way na madali siyang maisip ng mga researchers na nagre-research sa Google or sa cloud. Okay? So, yun ang keywords. Then you have introduction. It's different from the research report where we have several sections, Sa introduction, naka-embed yung mga iyan. So, ano lang siya, tuloy-tuloy lang siya. Wala siyang partitions. Except that we sometimes place sub-level headings but the sub-level headings do not pertain to, hindi sila nakasulat na literature review. Walang nakalagay na gano'n. Walang nakalagay na significance of the study. Wala ring definition of terms. The terms are defined as needed. Okay, so parenthetical definition ang ginagamit natin. So for example, in the introduction, you've mentioned constructivism, ay gusto nyo i-define. So i-define nyo siya gamit kayo ng parentheses, which is described as by blah blah. Okay, so that's how we do it in article. Then we have the purposes of the research, which is synonymous to your statement of the problem. Okay, so may mga journals na statement of the problem ang ginagamit nilang heading, may iba naman na, or karamihan, purposes of the research. Then we have our framework of the study. Okay, from the framework, then we have methods. So ito yung mga naka-highlight, sila yung mga main parts. Hindi ko lang na-highlight yung results and discussion, conclusions and recommendations, and reference list. So, kasama sila sa mga highlighted. So, if you would notice, the methods is just the same as that in the research report. Okay? Results and discussion, well, in journal article, it depends on the journal. May mga journals kasi na ang hinihingi, hiwalay na section ang results. Tapos, nakahiwalay yung discussion. May mga journals magkasama. May mga journals, ang tawag nila dyan, findings and then discussion. Okay? And then you have the conclusions and recommendations. May mga times na ang article hindi kailangan mag-conclude, lalo na kung highly qualitative. So, ang usual na ginagawa namin, findings and then discussion. Doon sa discussion, nilalagyan namin ng maraming implications. That would be equivalent to a conclusion. We cannot conclude because of the sample size, etc. Some of those things which might be questionable when you are talking about a qualitative research in terms of generalizing the generated knowledge. Okay? So, pagka ganon, depende kung paano yung mga major parts kapag journal article. Depende siya sa journals. Then you have the references. Okay? So, maraming journals ang gumagamit ng level na or heading na references instead of bibliography. Okay? Acknowledgement is optional. Lalo na kung wala naman kayong pasasalamatan. Diba? At ang acknowledgement sa journal article, very formal. So you would just say, my sincere appreciation to kapag first person ang ginamit, or pag third person naman, the researcher wishes to thank Sir Ian, Ma'am Sharon, Sir Arlon, tapos na. Hanggang dun lang. So, yun, ganun lang siya kaikli. Hindi katulad sa research report. Sa research report, nilalagay natin my heartfelt thanks to Sir Ian, the President, Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer, di ba nilalagay natin lahat ng kanyang affiliation or kanyang mga position. Dito sa journal article, hindi siya nilalagay. Okay? Then you have appendices, only if necessary, but not in research report. Sa research report, kailangan lahat ng picture, lahat ng sulat, ninyo sa division, sa principal, sa parents, informed consent, nilalagay natin siya. Pero sa journal article, hindi. Okay? You have supplemental data. Sometimes, like for example, when national research on TPAC, we have voluminous data. So kapag nagsusulat kami ng articles, hindi pwedeng isama yung napakaraming data. Kunwari na lang, ang transcripts namin ay umaabot sa 5,000. Hindi namin pwedeng isama yon kasi yung palang isang transcript, baka maubos na yung 6,000 words, diba? So ang ginagawa namin, naggagawa kami ng isang website, tapos doon namin niloload yung mga data na yon. Naka-arrange yung data na yon, nakaayos, naka-table kung table siya, okay? Supplemental data. So, ang pinifeed na lang namin doon sa article ay yung URL nung kung saan namin website nilagay. Okay? Parang storage ba? Yan. So, ini-store namin para hindi siya kasama doon sa ipapasa namin. Although kasama siya kung kung gustong makita ni reviewer or ni reader, pupuntahan niya yung URL. Okay, so that's the supplemental data. Now, a very important thing that we should do when we are doing the journal article is to do or write a very good cover letter. Okay, it's not part of the journal article per se, but it's a part of the process. So when you wanted to, or your intention is to get published, you need to talk sincerely to the editor. Okay, so ang kausapin nyo ng masinsinan, kumbaga, ay si editor. Ang pagkausap ng masinsinan ay hindi ganito. Dear editor, attached herewith is, okay? Or please refer to the attached manuscript. Hindi po ganon. So, kailangan maibenta natin ang ating article. Anong meron ng article ko? Bakit mo kailangan pansinin bilang editor? Ano ang contribution nito sa knowledge? Okay? So, yun ang kaibahan ng tatlo. Journal article, research report, at technical report. Yan. So, we'll try to take a look at them one by one. But before moving on, these are the different types of journal articles. So, hindi lang laging original research. Okay? Pwede rin namang letter. So, kunwari, sumulat ako kay editor tungkol sa isang concept. O kaya, merong isang article, nangyari ito sa amin, nag-publish kami ng article sa Philippine Journal of Science, and then merong isang reactor, parang ganon. May nagbasa na taga-ibang bansa, and then sumulat siya sa editor na ito yung kanyang nakitang gusto niyang gayahin, gusto niya, commendable, hindi masyadong maganda, pwedeng i-improve. Ayun, letter to the editor ang tawag. So, ang usual na proseso, kapag sinulatan yung editor tungkol sa paper niyo, so sa amin ang nangyari, ganun ano, sinulatan yung editor tungkol sa paper namin, susulatan ako ni editor bilang the corresponding author. At ang sasabihin ni editor, kailangang mag-respond ka. Okay, so magre-respond kami as a team. Ang ipapublish ngayon ay yung letter nung sumulat kay editor at yung response namin. Okay? Yan. So that's letter. We have research notes. These are concept papers. So hindi sila talaga empirical research katulad ng original research. Supplemental articles, yan yung sinasabi ko kanina, supplemental data. They can be supplemental articles if they are properly labeled and very, very logically presented. Okay? Review articles, mga literature reviews, meta-analysis, systematic reviews, nakapabilang doon. Or miniature articles. Ito yung shorter version ng research paper. So, parang yung mga sinasubmit nila usually sa conference paper. Halos ganun lang. Mga 4 pages, 5 pages. Sa education sector, sa ating field, kadalasan ang original research would run from 15 pages to 25 pages. Now, depending on the number of words allowed by the journal. Okay? So, ito yung mga iba-ibang klase ng journal articles. In all those, we usually make use of, specifically sa original research paper, we make use of the IMRAD, okay, for our research paper. Bakit IMRAD lagi, diba? IMRAD, kasi nga naman, kapag tinatry nating isulat si introduction, we're trying to present why we need to do this research, okay? So here, you develop your skills in providing questions, you develop your skills in researching, specifically in the literature review section, no? Next, methods. So, kailangan kasunod si methods kasi why, ang susunod sa why, how. How will I be able to answer? Why is it needed to do this research? Okay? So, methods. After the methods, what? What did I generate from the methods, diba? So, results and discussion. And from what did I generate the research? What did I generate from the methods? Okay? So what? Ano ngayon ang kwenta nitong data na to? In relation to my question, why? Okay? So, the so what is being answered by the discussion, moving towards its conclusion. Okay? The reason why we make use usually of IMRAD, although we seldom follow in toto, IMRAD, when we are writing a qualitative paper. So, pwedeng habang ginagawa ko si methods, nandun din si introduction. So, depende po yun sa research article na gusto kong i-design. Okay? So, these are the basic structure for the others. So, you would notice everything has an abstract almost, except for supplementary articles. They have introduction, they have methods or main body. You also have conclusions, discussion, recommendation, and of course, references. Okay, so these are the differences of the different types of articles which may be accepted by journals, okay, that I have presented a while ago. Okay, so this is usually the stages when a researcher writes an article, okay, or a research report. Medyo mahaba-haba, no? Una, we plan. Well, again, depende kung anong klaseng writer kayo. Ano? Ako po ay isang grand planner architect. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan planadong-planado ang aking mga research para sa pagsusulat ng article. Kaya nakikita ninyo, kapag nagdi-discuss ako sa inyo, kadalasan meron akong mga matrices, diba? Kasi ganun ako magplano. So, I plan, including the structure. Kaya I would consider myself an architect too. Okay? I read a lot before I do the planning. That's the reason why I may consider myself too as a grand planner. So planning stage on. So from the planning stage, I set the framework for the document. This is the introduction. This is the structure of the introduction and so on. So may outline. Nakalagay yun sa matrix. Okay? Then after that, I do the first draft. Itong first draft na to, ang focus ko lang ay concept. Okay? Concepts, principles, at saka yung flow of thought. Lalo na dapat fluid ito para sa mga babasa. Wala akong masyadong focus sa grammar. Mali-mali ang grammar niyan kapag first draft. Okay? Maraming typographical errors, ganyan. So, okay lang yon. Pero wag nyo namang isasubmit agad yon kasi alam naman natin, hindi pa siya planchado. So in my case, after the first draft, what I do is I have to go back to the entire article or the manuscript and do the revision for the second draft. So for the revision, ang gagawin ko, bago ko siya basahin ulit, isasalang ko yan sa mga plagiarism check. Kayo kasi sa G Suite, meron ng DepEd. I think there is a plagiarism checker for G Suite users. So, paki-check nyo na lang. For those of you who are studying in higher education institutions who are subscribing to Turnitin, you may use your account there to check plagiarism and grammar. Okay? Kasi meron naman yung embedded ETS. Yan. So, that's what I do for the second draft. So, from the checker, I do the revision. Okay? And then, from the second draft, I again, move on and try to take a look at the entire paper. So I'm considering two things on the third draft. Both the concept and the flow and, of course, the mechanics and grammar. Okay. So third draft yon. I need to have a last look before I submit. So I do the fourth draft. But the fourth draft should be done, para sa akin should be done about a week or two. Okay? From the time I have written or I am done with the third revision. Bakit a week or two? Kasi sa paggawa ko ng una, paggawa ko ng pangalawa, paggawa ko ng pangatlo, kabisado ko na yung papel. Diba? Alam ko na kung ano yung mga nakasulat doon. So, actually, hindi ko na siya binabasa pagdating sa fourth. Kaya kailangan, medyo makalimutan ko muna. Kumbaga, ano ba yon sa magjowa? Anong term nila doon?
Cool off, ma'am.
Cool off, ma'am. Cool off.
Tama. Cool off muna kayo ni paper. So, mga 2 weeks. Pag hindi nyo naman siya, pag na-miss nyo na isa't isa ulit, ayun, balik ulit kay third draft. At try to take a look at the entire paper again before you submit the final article. Okay? So, probably that's what I can share as what Davis in 1997 has shared also. I am following the same thing. Okay. Yan. So when we do the article, when we write the article, let's try to keep in mind the following. First, you have to have a working title. The working title may not be your final title. So, depende natapos na masulat ang buong article. But keep in mind that the working title should be around 10 to 12 words. Huwag nang sumobra pa sa 12 kasi hindi na title yan, paragraph na yan. Diba? Title lang ang kailangan muna natin. It has to be reflective of the problem and the main variables of the study. And walang judgment on the part of the title. Hindi pwedeng ganito. The positive effect of, parang nag-judge ka na agad na yung research mo, positive ang effect, di ba? Tanggalin natin si positive. Ang ilagay lang natin ay the effect of.
Effects.
Okay? Para hindi tayo agad-agad bias. Okay? Then, final article title may be designed after you write the entire article, inclusive of the abstract. Here are some sample sample titles from my articles. Parang karamihan dito sa nabigay ko sa inyo ay mga traditional research. Okay? So, sa mga nagbabalak mag-submit ng BERF, pwede ito sa inyo. Okay. Examining teachers' conceptions of and needs on action research. Okay, so makikita ninyo, a title like this is a dynamic title, kasi examining, parang parang progressive. Okay? Then tracing the science education graduates. This one is a literature review. So, katulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, hindi lang research article ang pwedeng tanggapin ng mga journals. Pwede namang literature review. So, participatory action research, action research in teacher professional development. Okay? Then here I have transitions and transformations in Philippine physics education curriculum, a case research. Okay? Ito naman, para sa passive, pwedeng ganun naman ang ating atake sa title. Ayan. So, some other titles may be sourced from the Google Scholar. If you search my name, may mga titles pang marami doon. If you wanted to have more samples. Okay? Now, this one, yung last na sample ko sa inyo, itong naka-red, ito yung pinanggalingan niyang title. Nung nagsusulat ako at bago ako magsulat, ito yung title ko. Heading towards transformational outcome-based education, kasi sa tertiary, outcome-based ang sinusunod namin. The case of a special physics education curriculum. Okay? So, after I wrote everything, including the abstract, before I submit my paper, I had this decision to change my title. Why? Because the focus of the research has changed also while I was writing the entire paper. So, nangyari, napalitan siya at sa tingin ko, ito ang magandang title. So, Transitions and Transformations ang naging title niya eventually. So, ito rin yung na-publish. Okay. Yan. Ito tayo sa article structure. Ang major parts lang nakikita natin, halos pareho sa research report, diba? Kailangan natin ng abstract, kailangan natin ng introduction, kailangan ng methods, kailangan ng results and discussion, kailangan natin ng conclusion and recommendation. Diba? Ayan. So, kung ganun ang kailangan natin, then, tignan natin isa-isa. Anong dapat na nakapaloob sa bawat isa? And you can see this is a table that would give you all the things that you need to be able to come up with the different key parts. Abstract, kailangan ko ng ganitong parts, intro, etc. So, let's take a look at them one by one. So, for the abstract, you need to have an introductory statement. Ang introductory statement nyo, ito, naranasan ko nitong October lang. I was requested by Tarlac State University to review the proposals and their research outputs or research products. Yung mga abstracts nila doon, parang kalahati, introductory statement. So, wag po tayong masyadong mag-focus sa introductory statement. Kaya nga po, introductory statement. Isang statement lang. Okay? So, after that statement, you go directly to the major goal of the study. Yan. From the major goal, you discuss what the methods you employed in the research. Anong research design? Anong instruments? Ano ang participants? At pakilagay agad yung sampling procedure. Okay? Data collection, and then data analysis. Then your major findings, conclusions, and recommendation. So sa pag-article, kadalasan maximum nito 200 words lang. So be very mindful when you are writing the abstract. The abstract should contain everything because it's a synopsis of the paper. In article writing, we call it as the advertisement of the paper. Okay, so para basahin ng mga readers yung iyong article, maganda dapat ang pagkakadesign ng iyong abstract. Pagka nakikita nila puro major goal at introductory statement lang, hindi nila yan babasahin. Yan. And in article writing, since the content is complete, di ba kompleto siya, parang buong research siya, synopsis siya, you can use abstract as a reference. So meron din tayong way on how to list as a reference an abstract as a reference. Okay? So kung kunwari, kasi kadalasan ang mga magagandang articles paid, di ba? May mga bayad. Pag wala kayong access at nakita nyo naman maganda yung nakalagay sa abstract, nandoon yung methods, nandoon yung major findings, nandoon yung major goal, yung conclusion, recommendation, then you can use the abstract as a reference. Okay? Para at least hindi kayo magbayad ng mahal para sa mga articles. Okay po ba? Do you have any questions for abstract? Okay, tahimik tayo munang lahat.
No questions,
So,
ma'am.
tahimik kayo. May tanong po ba tayo sa abstract? Before we move on? Wala naman. Okay, maraming salamat po. To introduction. So, in introduction, we need to have 3 major parts. Okay, 3 major sections, subsections. We have the background of the study. Kaya, doon sa mga may balak magsulat, kaya nung pinresent ko sa inyo yung isang task natin, naka-cluster na agad yung global theme, national theme, kahit na nakabullets lang, at saka local emphasis. Okay? Kasi kailangan natin ito pag nagsulat tayo ng abstract. Okay? Tiniscuss ko rin sa inyo last time ang literature review or literature survey dahil nga kailangan ito as part of the introduction of an article. Okay? So under literature survey, we need to be mindful that this should be presented in themes, so they are thematically organized. Kaya yung themes, sinasabi ko noon sa inyo, no, kailangan may kwento, storyline, okay? The sources should be within a decade old. So sa ngayon, 2020 tayo, kailangan ang start ng ating count ay 2010 to 2020. You have to provide a synthesis of the entire research survey you did. From the survey that you did and the synthesis, you draw the knowledge gap or research gap. Okay? From the knowledge gap and research gap, tell us why there is a need to do this research. So that's your study rationale. Okay? Study significance. And why is it that you need to conduct the study? So that makes your introduction. Okay? May tanong po ba sa introduction? So may abstract na tayo. May introduction na tayo. Okay? Wala naman? May tanong? May tanong ba? Wala po. Okay, salamat po. Next, we move on to, this is how I usually write my introduction. No? Kaya lang kasi action research ang ating focus. So, medyo pwedeng maiba ng konti. Okay? Kaya nga, hindi lahat ng journals ay tumatanggap ng action research. At may mga talagang journals lang for action research. Yun ang ating pagtutuunan ng pansin sa susunod nating o sa last na araw natin sa series. Okay? Usually, we have a funnel shape. We start with the broad. So parang anong tawag doon? Deductive, deductive method. We start with the broad and then we go specific. Okay? So broad statements and then a little specific and then very specific to the focus of your study. Yeah. I can give you one example. we conducted a participatory action research. So, bago kami mag-conduct, nag-needs analysis kami, no, sa mga teachers sa Division of City Schools Manila. The reason why we titled the activity, yung needs analysis na yon, na examining teachers' conception of, and needs on action research. So, needs analysis lang ito. Okay? Ibig sabihin, hindi pa ito action research kasi nga, tinignan lang muna namin kung ano ang kanilang kailangan. Okay. Now, you would notice for the introduction of this article, we only have 3 paragraphs. So, 1 and 2, and then the third. Now, in terms of having it in funnel shape, what we did is using, what do they call this one? View. I mean, global view kami nag-start, and then regional view, and then national view. Ganun ang ginawa namin. So, you would notice in paragraph 1, we were discussing about UNESCO, which is global in nature, no? And then, on the second paragraph, paragraph 2, you would see there ASEAN. So, from the global perspective, buong mundo, tinrim down namin into ASEAN perspective. So, nabanggit namin dito yung ASEAN Qualifications Reference Framework. Okay? From the ASEAN Qualifications Reference Framework, syempre, ang kasunod nun, Philippines, diba? So, doon kami nag-focus sa Philippines, dito sa third paragraph. Sinimulan namin siya doon sa Philippine Qualifications Framework, and then down to quality teachers. Yan. Hanggang sa makarating kami doon sa focus, the study surveyed teachers about concepts of action research, including blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, ganun lang kasimple. Pero sa action research, pwedeng mag-deviate. Pwedeng ang simula agad ay specific focus. Ano ang observation? Okay? Pinalagay ko lang sa inyo yung bullets, pero kayo na lang ang mag-design at mag-decide kung paano nyo siya aatakihin at ipapresent. Unahin ba natin na these are my observations in my class? Ganyan. I wanted to take a look at this in terms of the perspective of education for all. So pag tinignan natin yung statements na ganon, nagsimula tayo sa what is happening inside your class. So very local, diba? And then we move on to anchoring it to a global perspective, which is education for all. Okay? So that's the introduction. Yan. So some tips in writing your introduction for articles. You can also do the same for research report. Kaya lang, hindi magiging applicable yung number 1. Kasi sa research report, only page yan, di ba? Tsaka only words. Kung ilang page ang gusto niyo. But for article writing, you limit the pages for introduction to 2 to 3. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, ang mga articles natin sa education field, nasa mga 15 pages lang yan to 25. So kung 15 pages, tapos ang nagamit mo dun sa introduction 7 pages, abay, paano pa yung results, yung methods, and all others, di ba? Masyado kang bias doon sa introduction. Okay, so kailangan 2 to 3 pages lang. You have to have sub-level heading. This attracts readers and you try to concretize your storyline. You have to have a brief context to the readers. Mas maganda kung marami ang literature citation, lalo na sa background. Katulad nung nabanggit natin last time, at maganda ito para sa action research na susulatan ninyo later on, you include citations of the different DepEd memos, okay, and the different policies of the government. Yan. Kasi maganda ito para ma-boost natin kung ano man yung mga policies ng gobyerno. Yan. Form and style of writing is dependent on the journal. Okay, so, tignan niyo kung magsasubmit kayo. For example, sa Normal Lights, tignan niyo muna kung paano sinulat ng mga ibang authors na nakapublish ang kanilang mga papel. Okay? And the narrations and stories must be as clear as possible. So, kahit na sinabi ninyong paragraph 1, ma'am, ito paragraph 2 na ito, kailangan meron siyang magandang transition. Okay? Hindi pwedeng paragraph 1 at parang walang connect si paragraph 1 kay paragraph 2. Remember, you're trying to craft a story. Hindi maganda na sa storya may gap, diba? Hindi maipaliwanag. Saan galing si Maria kung Maria man yung ipinanganak, di ba? Hindi natin matrace kung saan. Mahirap yon. Okay? So, kailangan maganda yung kwento. Tuloy-tuloy, fluid. Yan. Since sabi ko nga sa inyo, ako ay planner and grand planner and architect, I use this one as a matrix. I have presented this to you last time, di ba? So I use that one as a matrix in designing my introduction section. Okay? So background, again, bullet lang din ang ginagamit ko. Literature review, themes, bullet din, and then gaps, and then rationale. Now let's try this one. So, based on our discussion, recitation bites of an introduction. So, introduction tayo, di ba? How is introduction organized? Okay? Sige, pwede niyong ilagay sa chat, mga sagot. Ano ang tense na ginagamit kapag introduction? At ano ang tense kapag abstract? Okay? Kailangan ba ng citations sa abstract? At kailangan ba ng citation sa introduction? Sige nga. Okay, so sabi ni Ma'am Jenny, present tense. Yes, citation meron. Yes, introduction, yes. So ano yung mga basic parts nga ng introduction? Sige, balikan niyo yung mga screenshots niyo dyan. Ayan, napindot ko tuloy. Anyway, present tense for the introduction. Past tense, yes. Usually past tense for the abstract. But we make use of active voice. Ano po? Active voice. Ibig sabihin, the subject is the doer of the action. Tama? Tama ba mga English teachers? Okay, background of the study, literature survey, study rationale. We prefer, yes, we prefer active voice. Okay. Voice. Sir, anong voice, sir? May naiwan. Active voice. Opo. Thank you. Okay. Now, these are some of the, meron pa. Parts of the introduction. Okay. Ayan. So, these are some of the answers which you may probably consider. Ayan, binigyan ko ng magkahiwalay na organization, yung traditional research at saka action research, in terms of introduction. Sa traditional research, talagang nagsisimula kami sa global focus hanggang doon sa local emphasis. And then we do the literature review, knowledge gap, and then rationale of the study. But it's a lot different when we are dealing with action research. Kasi nga pwedeng mag-start tayo doon sa anong nakikita ko sa aking klase, observation. Anong conflict sa klase ko? Anong tension meron dito sa group na ito? Ganyan. And then we connect it to global focus. So for example, in my community, 50% of the number of teenagers, female teenagers, aged 15 to 19 gets pregnant. Di ba? Yun ay observation muna. And then, i-connect ko yun doon sa tinatawag nilang teenage pregnancy. Global, both global at saka national focus. Di ba? Yun. Mga klase ng action research. Ito ay community-based action research naman. So, pag tinignan natin, pag action research, medyo may kaibahan. So, depende siya sa kung ano ang feel ng researcher, kung paano niya i-present ang introduction. Okay, maraming salamat sa inyong mga sagot. Yan. Now, you can use this as a rating scale. Ask a critical friend, yung talagang friend na friend nyo, yung sasabihin sa inyo na mali ka, okay? To rate your introduction. So, probably, she or he can make use of these primary traits as guide when rating the introduction that you have written. Yeah. Okay? So that's for the abstract and the introduction. So after the introduction, some journals would consider the purposes of the research as part of the introduction. Others would consider it as a separate part. So dalawa lang naman ang kailangan natin dito, no? The major goal of the study or the general question and the specific objectives or specific questions. So doon sa ating worksheets last time, yung ating major goal, ito yung ating ano ba yun? Parang initial focus. Initial focus are our objectives. Okay? The line before that, our major goal. Okay? So, pwede na natin gamitin yun directly under purposes of the research. Then we have our methods. So in methods, whether you're writing a research report or an article, you have the same parts. You have to discuss the research design. When you are discussing the research design, please do not just copy the description of the author of the design. So for example, this study used descriptive survey design as defined by Creswell in 1985, ganon. Hindi siya usually maganda kapag article writing. Kahit nasa thesis at dissertation and research report, dinidiscourage na din namin. Mas maganda ay dinidefine nyo siya in context to your study. Bakit nyo ginamit yung descriptive survey? Ano ang meron sa study ninyo? Bakit nyo ginamit ang descriptive survey? So kapag sinasagot niyo yung tanong ko na yon, pwede niyo nang gamitin si Creswell as a citation, hindi as the one that gave you the specific definition. Citation na lang. Okay? Then again, as I've mentioned last time, a while ago, study context. Hindi lang dapat natin dinidescribe kung ano ang lokal ng study. Kailangan nating i-describe ang condition doon sa lokal ng study. Okay? Para at least alam ng bumabasa or babasa na ibang researchers kung ano ang status or context ninyo during that time. Okay. Participants. So here, you have to focus on the profile of the participants. You have to discuss the sampling kasi kadalasan dito namin nakikita ang mga incoherence. Ito yung proposal, ito yung objectives mo, pero ang sampling mo ay hindi match doon sa kailangan ng objective mo. So, yun. And then you have instruments. For the instruments, you have to discuss three things. One, you have to describe your questionnaire structure. Gumamit ka ba ng Likert scale? Anong klaseng Likert scale? Ito ba ay 4-point, 5-point, etc. Multiple choice ba ang iyong ginamit? Ilang choices? Ilang items? Ilang parts yung instrument mo? So you have to consider all those things when you're writing your instruments, specifically questionnaire structure. Okay? And then please include content validity and reliability indices. If you are adopting an instrument, these are already available from other articles. So you can just copy them. Okay? Kaya lang, yung number lang yung kopyahin nyo or the index itself. Please rephrase or construct a differently worded statement for these numbers. Okay? For data collection, you have detailed and step-by-step description of the procedure. So for example, you are doing a survey, di ba? Kadalasan ito yung nababasa ko eh. The survey was administered. Tapos, yun na ang data collection. So, paano mo in-administer yung survey? So, kunwari, the researchers used online survey for this study. Diba? Paano mo binigay yung online survey link? Isa yun sa mga kailangan i-discuss. Okay? Paano in-ensure na naintindihan yung mga instructions? Okay? Paano at ilan ang na-retrieve ninyo after a period of time? How long did you give the participants for them to be able to respond to the survey? Mga yon kasama kapag dinidiscuss natin yung step-by-step description of the procedure. For example, interview. Kadalasan ang nakikita ko kapag ka nagsusulat, the researchers interviewed the participants. Period. Tapos na. Diba? Hindi iyon kompleto. Kailangan, sabihin natin anong ginawa natin kapag tayo ay nag-interview. For example, kunwari, I'm using a first person. I established the rapport between me and the student A, by asking the following questions. How are you? What makes you happy today? After establishing the rapport between me and the student A, then I began asking the different questions included in my interview protocol. Yon. The interview lasted for about 1 hour and 30 minutes in a confined room, air-conditioned room, making sure that there are no disturbances. Ayun. So, maliwanag kung paano natin kinonduct ang interview. Hindi lang, I interviewed participant A. Period. Okay? Huwag naman ganon. Kailangan natin ng more details. Okay? And data analysis. So, for data analysis, depende yun, balikan natin yung ating objectives. Objective, tatlo, kunwari, 1, 2, 3. Ask yourself, what data analysis should I do to be able to have a good analysis of data to answer statement 1 or problem statement 1? The same question should be asked for problem statement 2 and so on. Okay? Okay po ba? Well, saan ko ba ilalagay si ethical consideration? Kadalasan po, nilalagay natin siya sa participants section. So we discussed there ethical consideration for the research in the participant section. Kasi dyan yung sasabihin yung you collected informed consent, you asked the participant if it's okay, if it's like this and like that. Okay? You ask them if it's okay to have the entire review session or the entire interview session videotaped or audio taped, etc. Yan. So, pwedeng sa participants, majority of the ethical considerations. Pero pwede rin kayong maglagay sa data collection. Okay? May mga iba na journals, they require a separate section for the ethical consideration. Yan. So, any questions po on methods? May katanungan po ba? Walang tanong? Sige, we move forward. Malapit na tayo sa, I use this, again, matrix ang ginagamit ko ulit kapag ako ay nagsusulat ng methods. Yan. So, I presented this one to you last time also, di ba? I have objectives. These are my objectives. I need to have specific design per objective. Ngayon, kung isa lang naman ang design na gagamitin ko for the entire study, isa lang. Pero I might be using different instruments for different objectives.
Sabi mo, 1 kilo, kasi sabi mo.
Then the participants, I might have different participants for different objectives. And the same case for data collection and data analysis. So, ganyan, i-mini-matrix ko siya bago ko siya sulatin. Yan. Next, we have results and discussion. So, just like how I presented to you last time, how to analyze data and present this data, this should be coherent with the specific objectives of the study. So, for example, your research is developing a physics module, development and validation of a physics module. So, objective number 1, ano ang objective number 1 ko? Design and develop, tama no? Design and develop physics module. Objective number 2, validate the design and the develop physics module. Objective number 3, evaluate the develop module. Okay, so tatlo, no? So, ibig sabihin, ang results ko, meron din siyang, as much as possible, tatlong sub-parts. So, ang unang part ay corresponding to objective number 1. Ang objective number 1 ko, tandaan natin, ay design and develop, di ba? So, ang output nun ay isang disenyo at isang na-develop na module. So, ang title siguro nung aking subpart ay Developed Materials, di ba? Or Developed Module, ganyan, Physics Module. Then, ng pangalawang objective ko, validate, di ba? So, ang susunod doon sa results section, I can place validation of the developed physics module. The third one is evaluate. So, dito sa aking results and discussion, evaluation of the developed physics module. So, nakikita natin, coherent dapat. One-to-one correspondence usually. Objective 1, ano ang result 1? Objective 2, ano ang result 2? Objective 3, ano ang result 3? Okay? So that's how we present in general. But each of the subparts, so kunwari, objective 1 ko, ang corresponding result niya, di ba, ay developed physics module. Ano ang lalamanin nun sa baba? Okay? Ito yung nasa pangalawang section natin. Okay. So, ang gagawin ko, i-introduce ko saglit yung section na yun. So, kung pwede kong sabihin siguro na this section provides details of the developed module. Yan. And then, I'll place some graphical presentation. Wala akong data rito kasi development, di ba? So, ang mapapakita ko dito ay images. So, papakita ko yung table of contents, papakita ko yung cover page, yan. So, yung table of contents, makikita doon yung content mismo ng module, di ba? So, from the image, yun ngayon ang i-discuss. So, doon sa discussion, i-discuss ko doon yung content based on the table of contents. Ano ang insights ko doon sa content na yun. Doon sa aking insights, syempre, mag-identify ako ng mga literature citations. Ano ang implication ng ganoong flow ng content? Okay? In terms of how modules are developed. So, ganun ko ipapresent yung aking study kapag ang study ko ay development and validation of a physics module. Okay po ba? Maliwanag po ba? So, again, one-to-one, objective number 1, result number 1. And then, please follow the suggested lang naman. Pwede rin kayong mag-deviate ng konti. Okay? Yan. Thank you. So that is for results and discussion. This is an example of a section of results and discussion. Makikita niyo ganito ako mag-outline ng results and discussion ko. No? Results, kasi itong aking paper na ito, qualitative, kaya magkahiwalay yung results doon sa discussion section. So, presentation of themes, introduction of the theme, data, presented in tabular format, etc. So, ito, presentation ng tabular format. Kapag qualitative ang study natin, hanggang ganito yung pwede nating i-present. Mga frequencies at saka mga percentages. Okay? So, ganito yung pinakita ko sa inyong, ganito yung isa sa mga tables ng isang qualitative study. Hindi na natin, ito ay isa pang trend ngayon, hindi natin hinihiwalay ng column, frequency tapos percentage pa. Pinagsasama na natin yon para at least madaling makita yung trend. Okay? So, at least dito, kita ko agad na pang phase 1 ay 39%. At ang phase 2, 35%. Ang phase 1 pa rin pala. Ang phase 2, 36%. Halos hindi nagkaiba, di ba? Tapos naka-highlight dito subject matter knowledge. Ayun, ibang-iba. Kasi makikita ninyo, increasing. Yan. So, yun ang tinitignan natin ngayon para sa discussion. Ano ang trend? So, hindi natin dapat inuulit yung mga nandyan sa table. Katulad ng nabanggit kanina sa synthesis, tables are standalone. Tables, when viewed by observers or researchers or readers, they can interpret. Okay? So, you provide them with other narratives. Ito yung narrative niyan. So, pag tinignan natin, ang dinidiscuss ko in relation to the table, wala kayong makikitang numero kung hindi mga ibig sabihin. Yan. So, yan, mga naka-highlight. I was talking about syllabus. I was talking about differences in basic education. I was talking about holistic development of a physics teacher. Okay? Now, I need to have better explanations of this. Kasi alangan namang paniwalaan na ako agad-agad kapag ganyan ang sinabi ko. So, kailangan meron pang other explanation and justification. Diyan naman papasok yung mga nakuha ninyo na verbatim responses sa mga ini-interview ninyo kasi gumamit ako ng interview. So, dito ko ginamit yon. Pwede ko siyang i-thematize, pero mas, sa tingin ko, mas maganda kung gagamitin ko ay verbatim responses. Okay? So, since teachers ito, they can respond in English, straight. Pero if you are talking about students, and they respond in Filipino, the verbatim responses should be in Filipino. So, yun ang ilalagay nyo. Pero, maglalagay kayo ng parentheses para sa English translation. Yan. You would notice also that I am mentioning that their names are pseudonyms. Okay? So, this is for ethical consideration. Johnny, Ray, Jassy, and Chris. Yan. Okay? And then, in the latter pages, you would notice some of the citations I had. So, that's how we can proceed with the discussion. Okay. So some tips when you are writing the results and discussion, do a graphical presentation. Sabi nga natin ng mga tao, mahilig sa mga nakikitang figures and tables. Not so much with the narratives. No? Kaya mas maganda, yung partner na narrative nung tables and graphs ay all about your insights, inferences, implications, data trend. Okay? So when you wanted to include graphical presentations, you can probably check several factors like appropriateness of the graph or the visual that you're going to use, standards provided by the journal, gumagamit ba ito ng APA? Kasi kung APA, ibang klase yung kanilang presentation ng tables. Katulad nito, makikita ninyo, ang tables niya, puro horizontal lines lang, walang vertical lines, diba? May mga iba, ito lang, yung, this one, you can see my pointer, no? Ito lang, sa taas na line, itong line, at saka itong line, wala nang iba. Okay? So, APA yon. Ayan. And then, artistic attribute of the author. So, you can use this flowchart if you want to decide whether you wanted a graph to be included or an illustration to be included in your manuscript. Okay, so kunwari amount of data, diba? Konti lang. Mas maganda wag yan. Ilagay nyo na lang sa text or describe nyo na lang. Pero kapag ang dami, at ang gusto nyo makita ng reader ay yung specific details, gumamit kayo ng table. Pero kung ang gusto nyo makita ng reader ay trend, gumamit kayo ng graph. Okay? Kung gusto nyo naman makita ng reader ay trend with implications, gumamit kayo ng infographics. Yan. Okay? Nauso ngayon, no? So, when you write in this section, you should be clear about the results. It has to be concise. Pag paulit-ulit yung mga statements. In discussion, you should explore the significance of the results. Okay? Do not repeat what is written in the tables or what are in the graph. Tables and figures are embedded in text. May mga journals kasi na magkahiwalay. Narrative lahat, tapos sa ibang pages nakalagay yung tables and graphs. Ako, nahihirapan akong ganun, magsulat pag ganun, kaya hindi ko pinipili yung mga ganung journals. Ngayon, depende na yun sa inyo. Kung kaya niyo naman, why not? Diba? Kadalasan, combined yung results and discussion section. Kaya lang, may mga journals na gusto nila hiwalay, results and then discussion or findings and discussion. Kadalasan din kapag qualitative study, magkahiwalay. So since action research ay leaning on qualitative research, then we might as well provide this section as a separate results and then discussion. Avoid extensive citations. Wag naman puro citations na yung inyong narrative. You discuss your insights and explanations. And you can cite. Hindi naman sinabing, you discuss the citations. Okay, magkaiba yun. You follow the prescribed format of citation of the journal. Kadalasan naman po ay APA. Pero ngayon, 7th edition na. So, check na lang natin yung net kung paano yung mga kaibahan. Okay? So, that's for results and discussion. Again, I make use of this when I'm trying to generate my results and discussion section. Okay. Yeah. The last one, the last construct constructs are for conclusions and recommendation. So I have presented this to you, I think, last time, no? The first paragraph, kasi di ba, sabi ko nga 15 to 25 pages ang papel. Nasa simulang page, first 2 pages, yung major goal or objectives ng iyong study. Eh, pag si reader, nandun na sa panghuli, nasa page 12 na siya, di ba? Nakalimutan na niya kung ano yung nasa page 2. So, ipapaalala na lang natin sa kanya. Hey, reader, remember, the major goal of my study is like this. I wanted to develop a module in physics. Yan. So, yun yung first paragraph natin kapag conclusion. And then, since I have three objectives, diba? So, what I can do is, per paragraph, I will be discussing the following. So, una, dun sa development and design, paragraph 2 ko yun, ano? So, di-discuss ko yung summary ng findings like the inclusions of the module are as follows. Highlighting constructivist learning, student-centered paradigm, etc. Okay? I have to provide good implications. Ang maganda, kapag nagdi-discuss kayo, balikan nyo yung kung ano yung sinabi nyo dun sa introduction. So you have to connect whatever are the findings in your objective 2, no? Ano man ang findings nyo doon, you have to connect to what you have written in the introduction section to close the loop. Okay? And the same with objective 3 and objective 4 for the 4th paragraph. After which, then that's your conclusion. This is the implication of my study. I remember I was mentioning about education for all, and this module will be able to help facilitate education for all, etc. Yan. So, meron kayong ganon. Ibinabalik natin doon sa ano ang in-establish ninyo sa introduction. Okay. So, closing the loop. The 5th for the limitations of your study. The limitations would be sourced from your methods. Ano ang kulang sa tingin mo na dapat ginawa mo pero hindi mo na nga nagawa? Kaya sa mga gagawa ng research mo, gagayahin ito for research replication, ganito ang pwede ninyong gawin. Yun, no? So that's the 5th paragraph. And for the last section, how do you envision your research in the future? So kunwari, ako yung tatanungin, ano, develop ako ng module, I would be envisioning something like a game-based module for this. O, di ba? Social. Yun ang aking futuristic view tungkol doon sa aking module. So, ganun yung ating tingin. Okay? Yan. So, that will be the basics of conclusions and recommendations. Okay? Again, this one, I spend a lot of time constructing this because the conclusion section is the section where you place your generated knowledge. Ito yung contribution mo. Dito mo sinusulat yung contribution mo bilang researcher. Okay? Wala kang sinasite dito. So, bihira ang citations or halos wala sa conclusion. Kasi ikaw na ito. Na nagsasalita, ito yung nakuha kong ay findings. Ang importance na itong findings na to ay ganito. Ang implication nito doon sa sinasabi ko sa introduction ganito. Yun. So, doon papasok kung sino ka as a writer and as a researcher dito sa iyong contribution sa conclusion. Kaya, kapag ako nagbabasa, ang tinitignan ko, yung conclusion, ano ang contribution ni author. Okay? Diyan mo yan makikita sa conclusion. Okay? Yan. So, galingan yung magsulat dyan kasi kayo yan. Yan yung generated knowledge niya. Yan. So, some other parts, like the reference list. Yan. So, kung reference listing naman, since available sa inyo ang G Suite, Meron tayong mga easy bib, katulad nung na-discuss natin last time, easy bib, bib me, at saka meron sa Word, yung referencing sa Word, you can make use of that for listing the references. Okay? The keywords, as I have discussed to you a while ago, ayan. So, ito yung mga keywords na pinili ko. They are easily thought of by researchers, and they can easily provide a link to my articles. You would note also, look at the acknowledgement section. Isang line lang, diba? Hindi ko na dyan isinama, I have to thank my cat and my dog and my for all the coffee that I drank. Sinama yun. Kasi kapag article writing has to be very, very formal. Yan. Okay? One-liner lang. This is the sample cover letter. So there are 4 major things that you have to include in your cover letter. Again, the cover letter is something that sells your article to the editor. You're trying to convince the editor to read the paper. Alam niyo, mga editors, ang tinatanggap na papel niyan, bon-bon, daan-daan. Okay. Mga magagandang journals, libo-libo. So, para pansinin nila yung iyong article, kailangan yung communication mo sa kanila, nandun na agad yung essence ng article mo. So, kaya yan ang nilalagay namin usually, ano? Ano muna ang intention ko? I have an intention to submit to this journal, okay? These are the major findings of my study, okay? And these are my contribution. I have no conflict of interest, and I hope that with the major contribution of your submission, the editor will read the paper, okay? So, swertihan yan kapag nagustuhan niya yung major contribution, babasahin niya. Oh, and then, papasok yun sa ibang stages naman. Okay. Ito na yung stage na yun. So, you submit. Okay, pareho lang yung, ano na yan, illustration. Colored lang yung nasa left. You submit as an author. These are the things that the editor does. Ang dami, di ba? Mahirap maging editor. Isang article lang ito. So, kung daan-daang articles, daan-daang ganitong proseso ang ginagawa ng isang editor. Ito ang reviewer. Gagawin lang niya, mag-review, mag-comment, at ibalik kay editor. Si editor na lahat, actually. Okay? And then you as the author. So, ang kausap mo lagi, si editor. So, para kanya mapansin, sa dami ng ginagawa niya talaga, di ba? Kailangan maganda ang iyong cover letter. Yan. So, that's the publication process. It's actually very long. Very long. Huwag kayong expect na in 3 months mapapublish, you know? I have some papers, it takes about 2 years to publish. Pinakamabilis yung 6 months. Yan. Okay? Some of the things that you need to consider when writing, because these are the things that they evaluate. Si editor, ang tinitingnan niya, thematic relevance. Yung bang isasubmit mo sa akin, may kwenta yan sa journal ko. Ganun agad ang unang tanong. Ano ba ang contribution yan sa journal ko? Ganun agad ang tanong. Kaya dun sa letter, kailangan maliwanag yon. Original ba yan? O marami na akong nabasang ganyan eh. Survey, ayoko niyan. Kaya kailangan matinding, magandang, novel idea ang nakalagay sa inyong mga articles. Okay? Gumamit ka ba ng literature? Wala akong nakikita ditong literature citation. Ayoko niyan. Noon, di ba? So, kung puro words mo lang, it's not enough to attract an editor. Format and style. Aba, hindi sumunod ito sa journal guidelines namin. Hindi ito marunong sumunod. Ayoko na ito. Ganon. So, kailangan marunong tayong sumunod. Okay? Kapag reviewer naman, ito tinitingnan. Clarity, technical quality, and organization. Kaya kanina, kailangan masinsin, ano? Abstract, ano ang components. Introduction, ano ang components hanggang sa dulo. Okay? Appropriate title and abstract. Use of data, sound conclusion and discussion, and length of paper. Okay? Makikita nyo length of paper, kaya ako diniscuss kanina. Kailangan mga introduction to 3 pages lang. Huwag naman 10 pages na introduction ka pa din, di ba? Okay. Some others, reputation of the author. So, kung may mga friends kayo dyan na nakapag-publish na, mas mataas-taas ang reputation. So, kaya maging teammates natin. The technicality of content. So, these are the things that you need to consider when you are writing. And when you have the intention to submit to a journal article, to a journal. Okay? So, some insights. There has to be unity when you are trying to write the entire manuscript. Kaya sabi ko nga, kailangan may transition na maganda from one section to the other. There has to be coherence. Kaya ang sabi ko, one-to-one correspondence. Objective 1, result 1. Objective 2, result 2. Objective 3, result 3. Okay? You have to support your claims. Okay, sabi ko, katulad ng example ko kanina, you provide illustrations, you address ideas, you explain, you use examples like verbatim statements. Okay? You have to have effective paragraphs. 6,000 words po ba including parts? Depende po sa journal. Ang aming journal, The Normal Lights, it includes only 6,000 words excluding abstract. So parang 6,150 words. Depende po yun sa journal. So tingnan natin yung journal guidelines. Okay? Word choice, grammar, sentence length. Sana iwasan natin yung halos one paragraph, yung one statement. Okay? Sa sobrang haba. Parang pag ako nagbabasa kasi, no, tulad yan, babasa ako, reading aloud, ibig sabihin pag reading aloud, hindi ka nahinga, di ba? Abay ko one paragraph yan dahil yun ang isang sentence mo. Pakadalin ako sa ER after. Okay, hindi makahinga. Okay, hatiin natin. Yan. Short but concise statements. Okay? Minsan din kasi pag sobrang haba, nawawala sa focus yung statement. Ayan. Any questions before we go on to the second section of our discussion for today? Ito ay research report, technical report, journal articles. Baka may tanong kayo? Ang susunod natin ay how to present.
Ma'am Pa, siguro mag-input lang din po ako.
Yes po.
Maganda po yung discussion ni Dr. Morales po today. So, all of the writing guidelines per part, we will include this po on our evaluation, kung paano natin i-evaluate yung ating mga submitted research para may quality din yung ating research output, para in case na in the future we might have our own research journal for Quezon City. Once we have the appropriate funds, then we could already harvest those research outputs which can be published po. And for the information of all, next week po ay Friday, we will have one orientation for all the school research coordinators. So we will present po some templates and the process po on how we will submit
May masakit?
Submit the research proposals po sa ating division. So para madali din yung review sa inyo ulit if you are planning to write research or to submit research, then we will incorporate po sa template na gagawin po natin yung mga parts and how to write those parts po. So maraming salamat po Ma'am Paz doon sa ating first part ng ating discussion. Malaking tulong po sa amin at saka sa ating mga participants for them to have magandang skills or writing skills sa paggawa ng kanilang research output. Salamat po.
Okay, maraming salamat din at na-appreciate ninyo yung ating discussion for today. I hope the second and the third parts will be also as helpful as the first part. So okay na po, Sir Ian, I can continue?
Yes po, ma'am. Apo.
Okay, thank you. So for this one, for those of you who want to present your research papers, so preparation for panel presentation, sa mga nag-thesis and dissertation, magagamit nyo rin to. Okay. So, first, how are you going to prepare for a panel presentation? So, that's an oral presentation of your research. You have to showcase your research, the products, and the process as well. So, ibig sabihin, yung methods at saka yung outputs, ano? And plus your intention, of course, of providing them your research. So, some of the characteristics that you can include, you have to first communicate the importance of your study. You have to present a sound process. So, kailangan pulido ang inyong methods, di ba? Kaya, doon pa lang sa pagde-design ng inyong mga action researches, action plans, kailangan pulido yung methods. Okay? Clearly state the findings and the analysis of those findings, and you try to attract the community to ask questions, not to humiliate you, but for them to give you some comments on how to improve or to ask you for further clarification because they also wanted to do the same thing. Okay? So, ang tingin natin lagi ay positive. Pag may nagtanong sa inyo, ang isipin natin, ikagaganda ito ng aking research. Okay. So, it's the feedback that matters. Yan. So, positive criticism ang tawag nga natin. So, some basic principles when you are about to present, probably a day or two, or before you start planning your presentation, you have to know your audience. Okay? So, kailangan tanungin nyo sino yung mga audience nyo. Sila ba ay ngayon pa lang makakarinig ng tungkol sa ipapresent ninyo? Or marami na dyan ang expert din? Kasi nakadepende yung pag-present ninyo doon sa klase ng audience, di ba? Kung mga estudyante, ito lalong iba. So, iba yung paano nyo i-present yung inyong paper sa fellow teachers, sa department, okay? Iba kapag students, di ba? So, you have to tailor your presentation to your audience so that you become relevant. Okay? Hindi yung present ka. Hindi ka naman naintindihan. Mahirap naman yon. Yes, we are using PowerPoint, but it has to be PowerPoint more. Hindi PowerPointless. Okay, so avoid PowerPointlessness. Na yung nakalagay sa screen, iba dun sa iyong dinidiscuss, diba? Parang out of mind. Hindi siya match. Keep it simple. Hindi natin kailangan ang maraming mga gumagalaw-galaw para ang tignan nila yung nakasulat at ikaw. Okay? Huwag yung mga gumagalaw-galaw dyan. Visualize your data. Again, most people like to see graphs, tables, and infographics. Yan ang uso ngayon eh. Di ba? Pag tinignan natin yung mga social media, ang nakaka-attract talaga sa atin yung mga ganon, ano? So, siguro, maglagay tayo ng kahit konti, kung kaya. Okay. Next, be mindful of text specs or aspects. Okay? The background should be simple. You can see, siguro naman simple yung aking background lang, puti lang talaga, ano? Simple, and the same all throughout, para hindi sila nadidistract sa background. At ang concentration nila ay doon sa pinapresent niyo. This is standard, ano? For the text, it has to be 22 ang font. For the title, it has to be 44. Less than that, you become very, very wordy, and people would not like to see your slide because it's too textual. Ayaw nila magbasa, di ba? Ayaw nating magbasa ng sobrang haba. Okay? If you become like that, it's better if you present it in bullet format. Okay? The contrast of background and text, if you're using white, syempre, huwag naman tayong gumamit ng text na light blue. Hindi natin mababasa. So, dapat contrasting yung colors. So, use colors for emphasis and to tie points together. So, nakikita ninyo minsan gumagamit ako ng ibang color na font. Katulad nito, be mindful of the text aspects. Okay? As much as possible, use only one font. So, hindi ito festival of fonts. Ang gusto nyo maintindihan yung research nyo. Hindi siya showcasing of the different fonts. Yan. So when you present your research, you have to present everything. The introduction, the background, the literature, the research questions. Those are the things that you can find in the introduction. Then you have the methods, findings and data, your conclusions and discussion, future research. You wanted to present the references and including the acknowledgement. Ang haba, di ba? Sabi ko nga minsan, nalilito na kami kasi eto na, puro numbers. Ano nga ba yung tanong para dyan? Di ba? Ganon. Kasi nawawala eh. Nandun na tayo sa findings. Masyado nang malayo dun sa introduction. Okay? So for e-presentation, usually, this is how we do it. I usually advise my advisees and some friends and my students that to present their presentations like this. They have a title slide, of course. They have to provide the flow of discussion. Okay, so there has to be a slide for that. So that, parang siyang, advanced organizer para sa mga babasa or sa mga makikinig. At least alam na nila kung ano yung flow ng discussion mo. Okay. Ayaw naman natin na lahat na lang ay surprise. Medyo mahirap din kung minsan. Okay? Then, you have to give the study rationale. As much as possible, I encourage my students to make use of illustrations for the study rationale or bullet format. You have the framework slide, and then the problem, VA, methods, presentation of data, and analysis. So I'll give you some examples for that. Para makita ninyo pa paano nagpa-present. I use the same thing when I'm presenting to research conferences. Yeah. Kumuha ako ng sample from the slides of my students or advisees. So ito yung isa sa mga sample. You can see you have the title slide. I am using only one template from the time I started doing presentations and doing advising. So, ang template na to, mula nung 2012 pa yata. Okay, ganito na. Yung template nila. So, pare-pareho lang yan. Kung gusto kong magbago, siguro later na lang. Flow of discussion, you can see the things that are to be presented by my student. Okay. Ayan. Meron siyang slide for the problem. Pero you would notice, I would go back to one of my slides. Yan. Makikita nyo dito sa last bullet, problem via methods, presentation of data, and analysis. Ang usual na problem namin kasi na panel members, pag nandun na yung nagpa-present sa data and results, the tables and all, hindi namin matandaan ano yung problem para doon, ano yung sinasagot niyang problem. So, what I did was to encourage my students to do it like this. Andito sa research problem, anong design ang ginawa, okay? Anong research instrument, etc. So, kung problem number 2 yan, ganun din ang gagawin niya. Okay. The same case with direction na yun, no? So, from research problem 1, research design, research instrument, ano ang findings? Diretso na siya agad. Nagpapalagay ako ng mga highlight, ayan, para madali nilang maituro sa mga panel o sa mga audience yung gusto nilang i-focus na discussion. Kadalasan, kapag ito ay panel defense, pinapalagay ko yung page kung saan matatagpuan itong table na to. So you would notice they have here, the student has here, self-preserved knowledge on TPAC dimension, page 42. Yan. So naman, page 46. Okay? Yan. So makikita niyo table number 2. Okay? Data and results. Yan. Tools used. Para at least, kahit na nandun na siya sa tools used and data and results, alam pa rin namin kung ano yung sinasagot na problem. Hindi kami nawawala. Remember, coherence is very important when we are trying to take a look at a research. Okay? Yan. So, ito naman yung isang sample from a Master of Arts student. And ito yung kanyang title. This is the framework. Walang text. Isang visual lang, and then he or she explains. Okay? Nagpapalagay ako ng list of acronyms, lalo na kung ang paper ay masyadong maraming acronyms na ginamit. Okay? And then the presentation of the latter portions, major findings, conclusions, and recommendations. Yeah. So, questions po ba? Meron ba? Kung wala, some other principles. No? Create a talk outline. I usually ask my students to do this. I also do the same. Kailangan meron akong outline. Unless na, nakailang pasada na akong pagle-lecture nito. So, kabisado ko na siya. Diba? Learn to fight nervousness. Yan. I have a friend who fights nervousness like this. Tumatakbo siya from first floor to fifth floor and back. And back and back. Mga 4 na beses. Yung mga heartbeat niya mabilis, ano? Pero ina-attribute niya yung heartbeat niya na mabilis sa pagod, hindi sa kaba. O ganun siya. Ako, ibang klase, mamaya sasabihin ko sa inyo. Practice a lot. Ayan. So, yung mga advice ko at saka yung mga estudyante ko, before their presentation, I ask them to come over to PNU and ask them for dry run. So, talagang nagpo-practice kami. Okay? So, you can probably do the same. Yan. Inoorasan ko sila sa practice. So, kunwari, nagtagal siya ng 10 minutes sa introduction. Ulit. Okay? Kailangan 2 to 3 minutes ka lang dyan. So, orasan namin. Yan. So, some other things to consider when you do the practice. Do the proper stance, just like in the actual presentation. Okay? So, since we are using Zoom now, I mean, Zoom, Google Meet, and so on, pag nag-practice kayo, ganun din. Ang Zoom, unlimited naman yung time kapag kayo lang mag-isa ang participant. So, gamitin ninyo siya. Okay? Pwede rin ng Google Meet, diba? Para at least, may feel na kayo doon sa ano ang itsura ninyo. Ganito ba ang paling ko? O kaya ganito para mas maganda kapag screenshot. Mga ganon, di ba? Ask your advisor or your friends for an oral presentation dry run. Okay? Or an online presentation dry run. Yan. Ask your friends to listen to you too. So kung kunwari, gusto nyo may feel na kayo nung maraming nanonood, damihan nyo yung i-invite na friends. Okay? Sometimes you need to present alone, pero in a mirror. Pero ito, usually kapag face-to-face. Ano? So hopefully in face-to-face, you can do this one. But in Zoom, you can do that. Anong tawag nito? Camera on ka lang. Di ba makikita mo ang itsura mo while you are presenting. Ayan. Diba? At least alam mo yung projection. Kailangan may ilaw dito, dito ang ilaw, dapat ang background ko green, kaya meron akong floral, mga ganun. Diba? Sino nga ba yung iba-iba background? Si Sir Ramil? Tama ba?
Yes po, ma'am. Si Sir Ramel po.
Si Sir Ramil.
Na-miss niyo na po si Sir.
Na-miss ko na si Sir Ramil. Okay, some other tips. Well-organized practice talk will almost always go well. So usually, kapag hindi tayo talaga parang mga announcer type na sanay o kaya stand-up comedian ba ang dating, wag tayong mag-attempt na yung gawa nating PowerPoint, salang agad, okay? Walang practice. Hirap yun, okay? Taking deep breaths will calm you down. So, that's one way. Iba rin naman sa ibang tao, di ba? Kung paano sila mag-relax. Deep breaths, pwede. Slow down. Take a few seconds to think about the question kapag may nagtanong. Okay? Bring notes. It's not bad to bring notes. Lahat tayo dito ay learning. We are in a learning community. Hindi ako ito expert. Both of us are providing something to each one of us. Okay? Be prepared to answer the questions that are thrown to you. But it's okay to say, I don't know. Hindi naman kayo all-knowing, as in alam nyo lahat, di ba? Lahat tayo ganon. Merong limitations ang ating mga nalalaman. So kung hindi na siya beyond na siya nung alam natin, at lalo na't beyond na doon sa ating pinapresent na research, maybe we can address the question politely, or the one who asked the question politely, that you don't know the answer. Probably sometime when you meet again, you can provide some answers. Parang student lang no? Okay, ito ginagawa ko to. Bring a paper clip, okay? I believe that it absorbs nervousness. Ewan ko, no? Science teacher ako. Okay. Meron pa kami isang tip. When I was in high school, I usually join contests. So I am usually accompanied by several teachers, tapos depende sa grade level, year level, kung kunwari, second year ako, di ang mga kasama ko, first year, third year, fourth year, gano'n. So my friends, yung usual na kasama ko sa mga quiz bee, ganyan. Sa aming school, anong ginagawa mo para hindi ka kabahan? Sabi ko, minsan, binabaliktad ko yung aking sando. Kasi feeling ko, na-absorb ng baliktad kong sando yung kaba ko. Ganon. So, kinikwento ko lang sa kanya. Kasi, yun nga, di ba, pag nasa oral quiz bee ka na, nakakaba talaga yun. Eh, sumalang na siya. So, nakipag-quiz bee siya. Second place lang siya. Ang nanalo, for, babae, sabi niya sa akin. Ate, binaliktad ko naman yung underwear ko eh. Pero siguro siya pati yung bra niya binaliktad niya. Kaya siya ang nanalo. Okay. But what I do is I bring a paper clip actually. Okay? Or something I have in my pocket. Kayo, hindi ko alam kung ano ang dinadala nyo. Bawang ba? Coin. Ayan, may nagsabi si Ma'am Pilar. Coin. Okay. Coin in my shoes. Okay, that's nice. So may kanya-kanya tayong secrets, di ba? Ayan. Okay? So good, that's good. That's how to practice. Yan. Any questions? Huwag yun akong tanungin kung anong dala-dala ko ngayon. A rosary. Okay, that's good. A lucky charm. That's nice. Okay. Now, for other audiences, this is the last part. Do you have any questions for the presentation? So, dalawang ways na, no, kung paano tayo mag-disseminate. How to write articles, reports. How to present. Okay, now we're trying to address some things which may be necessary eventually, specifically for our agency, the Department of Education, and for other audiences. Okay, wala bang tanong? Wala kayong tanong? O siya, sige, tuloy-tuloy na natin, ano? The first one is policy briefs. So these are some of the definitions I was able to call. These are concise summary of information and they help readers to understand and make decisions about specifically government policies. Okay? They are short. Hindi sila ganun kahaba. Neutral summary of what is known about a particular issue or problem. They are in a form of a report designed to facilitate policy making. That's by SAIL in 2006. There are two kinds of policy briefs. You have the advocacy brief. This argues in favor of a particular course of action. So parang, ano ba? Cleanliness advocacy, Manila Bay advocacy, mga ganun, ano? Or of the objective brief. This gives a balanced information for the policymaker to make up his or her mind in doing decisions. Okay? Itong mga to, usually, nire-require na ito ng mga funding agencies. So kapag merong kayong mga research grants ngayon, katulad sa amin, may mga research grants, ang isa sa mga requirements, mag-submit kami ng policy briefs. Sinasubmit namin ito dun sa funding agency, at saka sa Senate, sa Congress, ganun, para matulungan ang ating mga policymakers, mabigyan sila ng empirical data on certain fields. Okay? So, ganun ang trabaho ng policy briefs. So, ito yung content. Meron kang title, you have the executive summary, but this runs 1 to 2 paragraphs only. Okay? Your context and importance of the problem. Okay, these are the inclusions. Clear statement of the problem or the issue. Short overview of the root causes of the problem. Clear statement of the policy implications, etc. And then you have a critique of policy options. So you detail here some of the shortcomings of the current approach. So anong problema dito sa current na ginagawa? Okay? A short overview of the policy options in focus and your argument, illustrating why, how your proposal is a good one. And as opposed to the current approach. Okay? And then, what are your policy recommendations? So, dito nyo sasabihin kung anong pwedeng gawin ng mga policymakers natin. Okay? And then, some other parts, you have the authors, acknowledgement section, publication details, and references. So, I want to give you some samples. Siguro, pwede kayong one time mag-invite ng isang magaling gumawa ng mga policy briefs sa mga researchers na iba to give you a guide on how to develop one, no? Ayan. So ito yung mga inclusions pa. Meron tayong mga tables, graphs, at saka mga photos. For samples, you can access these links. Nandyan yung, ito ay dun sa project namin. Nandyan meron kaming nagawang 6 ba na policy briefs. NRCP, or National Research Council of the Philippines, likewise do the same. Per project, per grant, they require policy briefs. So meron silang naka-upload dito sa kanilang URL. The same with the OST. Okay, so these are some of the samples of the policy briefs that you can acquire. Pero ito, ipakita ko lang sa inyo yung isang sample namin. So this is Philippine STEAM Education in Focus Policy Briefing ang tawag, ang title namin, no? So the title of this policy brief is the Philippine STEAM Education through the lens of the PPAC framework. So makikita niyo medyo attractive siya in a way kasi hindi siya yung article talagang babasahin. Alam niyo naman ang ating mga senador at congressman, busy yan. Kailangan lahat ng gusto nyong sabihin sa kanila para sila ay makagawa ng magandang policies, very brief dapat. So ganun ang ginawa namin. You have here key messages. This is the current status on the left side. You have highlights, okay, at a glance. Tapos nandoon yung basic data doon sa taas, sa kanan, on the right figure. And then our policy recommendation. Itong nasa baba naman, that's the project team. Okay? So this is a sample. 2-page lang ito. Yan. Ang mga policy briefs, maximum of 8 pages. Okay? So maganda kung 2-3 pages lang, lalo na kung ang mga babasa ay mga very busy people. Okay. These are the other ways and means. We are advertising this at the Philippine Normal University Publication Office. Yung mga research na na-publish sa aming journals, medyo mahirap kasing magbasa ng research, diba? Kasi masyado siyang technical. Mahirap siyang intindihin. So what we are doing is we try to ask the authors to convert their research articles into either video presentation. This is 3 to 5 minute video presentation, infographics, or a short Facebook article on the publication with corresponding image. So yan yung tatlo na other means of presenting a research. Okay? So kung hindi nyo pa gusto na magsulat ng article, pwedeng dito nyo simulan. Okay? Para malaman ng iba ano ang inyong ginawa. Ayan. Pwede nyo puntahan yung Facebook page ng Publications Office. We have uploaded things like this. So katulad nito. This is an example. Ayan. I think this is a video. So you can click on tama ba? Oo. I think this is a video. You can click on the URL to lead you to the video presentation. This one is parang short ano tawag doon? Synopsis ng buong paper. Okay? And then we try to lead the reader to the entire article through the link. Yan. Ayan. Any questions po? Meron pa kami mga in-upload, mga 3 pa yata. May magandang video doon on climate change. So I hope that you will have some time to watch. Maikli lang yun, 3 to 5 minutes. Actually, you can use them for your students as well. At least yun ay Philippine context. Okay? Yan. So any questions on the last two parts? Presentation of research and policy briefs and other ways and means? Wala ba? Or bibigay ko kay Sir Sharon ang virtual platform?
Yes, so far now there's no questions here in the chat box.
To those po who have questions, pwede pong mag-raise. Ayan, sabi ni Ma'am Nori, malinaw naman daw po lahat. Or baka...
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Nori.
Apo. Ma'am Paz, baka you would like to have po like kahit mga 5-minute break?
Sige po.
Ah,
Meron akong konti pa na slides
Apo.
for the final. Ayan, tips pa more. Sige, 5-minute health break.
Yes po.
Sige po.
Salamat po.
While we were enjoying our 5-minute health break, may I call the attention of Ma'am Cecil Alda of Juan Sumolong High School to please be ready for the task 4. Thank you. Okay, while we are waiting our speaker for the 5-minute break. So basahin po muna natin ang mga nasa chat box from Ma'am Mabel. So thank you, very well presented. So totoo po yon. Napakaganda po ng mga presentation sa atin ang ating speaker. And another one po is from CD1 San Francisco High Schools. From Ma'am Ana Jamil. I think this is Ma'am Ana Jamil Restubog. Very helpful po. Thank you, Ma'am Paz. Okay. Another one from Nori Sabayan. Malinaw po ang lahat. Okay, some of these messages, they share their experiences kapag sila ay nervous. So they have the lucky charm. They put coin in their shoes. Okay. And good morning po, ma'am. Saan po namin pwedeng ma-access ang recorded video po ng last research FLEXI natin? Di po kasi kami naka-join last time. Thank you. Okay, we will share with you, Ma'am Christina Padilla, yung last invitation po, nakalagay po doon yung ating link para po ma-access po ninyo ang ating recorded video. So more from Sir Arlon Cadiz, malaking tulong po sa ating lahat. Okay, and what more? Okay, here from Sir Christopher Tabungkar. Explanations are crystal clear. Yan po, Ma'am Paz, ang ating mga nasa chat box.
Maraming salamat.
Andiyan na po, okay? Sige, Ma'am Paz na po.
Okay, thank you very much for all your positive comments. So tuloy po natin, ano? Ayan, some tips. I hope I have prepared this for Ma'am Sharon's 2 minutes. You can consult, you can attend webinars, especially those who are intending to publish. So may mga free webinars po tayo, no? Marami from the different journals. So you can attend those para meron kayong mga mas maraming tips, lalo na para sa kanilang journal. Okay? You can also check our what do you call this one? Facebook page. We have some tips on how to write this, write that, write this part, etc. So check nyo po yung mga uploads namin dyan. Okay? And some insights for those of you who wanted to submit a proposal, submit a written work, article, etc. Do not fear rejection. Sa larangan po ng writing, normal pong ma-reject.
Mic is muted. Ano ito? Ala na, ala. Ano ang nangyari?
Yes, okay. Naghang po yata si Dr. Morales. Okay, while waiting po sa ating speaker, so nasa poster po ang link ng research FLEXI materials po. So you could access the videos from session 1, 2, 3, and upcoming po upcoming po ang ating session 4 right after this. Yes, hello ma'am. Okay, back to Dr. Paz.
Sige, balik tayo sa insights. Habang nag-i-insights pa naman ako, tsaka ako nawala. Ayaw yata ni Smart. Anyway, there. Be simple in writing. Sabi ko nga, you don't have to include very difficult words. Simple words is actually the trend. Okay? The simple the statement, the better. The more straightforward the statement, the better. Okay? You have to be mindful also of the journal guidelines. Okay, so as much as possible, you read and read and read the journal standards so that you won't miss out any of their guidelines. And then again, try to collaborate, build your credibility as a researcher. Okay? Now, I have here, for your days 1 to 4, I would like you to write your insights. Pero hindi sa chat box. This time, please access this Padlet. I created a Padlet for you. A Padlet is just the same as a blackboard. So I'll be showing you the Padlet later on. Pero you can key in this in Google. And then this will be the... Stop sharing ko muna ha. Okay, nagpo-connect lang po ako. Ayaw lang mag-connect. Okay, na-access nyo na ba? This is my Padlet. Ayan. I would like you to key in your insights for the 4 days, so including this day. Ayan. So you can do that by clicking this plus sign on the right side. Itong naka-pink. Ayan. And then you can see my Padlet. Nakikita nyo ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you can write, you can type in anything, yan. Or you can upload, kung kunwari sa Word kayo nag-type, you can upload, use this one. Kung gusto niyo naman picture nyo or gumawa kayo ng drawing and all, and then you took picture, pwedeng ito naman. Okay? Yan. Okay. Pwede nyo ipagawa ito sa mga estudyante ninyo, no? Padlet.com. Sinare ko po sa chat box yung link for the Padlet. Okay, meron ng isang naka-post. So, parang mga post-it lang siya, no? Ayan, may gumamit ng arrow. Yes, you can actually use arrows. So pag ginamit niyo po ito sa inyong mga klase, pwede ninyong gamitin for the mind map or concept map. Natuwa naman ako, may picture pa talaga. Okay, may iba naman, pinalitan na ang kulay. Ayan. Ayan. So habang nagsusulat pa kayo, babalikan natin ito mamaya. And then I'm going to share the entire Padlet to Sir Ian. This could be uploaded as part of the materials that you have. No? So stop sharing ko muna ito and I'll share my last few slides. I think I already shared with you this particular portion. Okay, so in writing, please make sure that it has to take no pressure from you at all. You have to love it so that you can finish it. Okay? Chill-chill lang, ha? Hindi dapat ma-pressure dahil sa pagsusulat. Kailangan ang pagsusulat ay ang ma-pressure sa inyo. Hindi naman. Kailangan, you have to love what you do. So, you have the drive to complete the task that you have signed up for. Okay? Do physical activities, sabi nga natin, the more the physical activities, the better the cognition. Yan. So, ayos-ayos ang upo para naman hindi puro ouch ang nararamdaman natin after writing a paragraph or two. Sabi nga natin, no FB at the writing moment. Small steps lead to big goals. Okay? So, konti-konting paragraphs, that would be enough for the day. But if it's done every day, you'll be able to complete in due time. Yan. So, maraming salamat at balik ko na kay Ma'am Sharon.
Yes, ma'am, siguro po balik po natin yung ating mga insight po nila para basahin
Oo,
po
teka,
natin.
babalik ko. Yes po.
Kasi ang ganda po ng message po nila sa inyo.
Yeah. Ay, nasa na ako? Yan. Ayan, may
Ayan,
pictures.
ang gaganda.
Nakakatuwa.
Okay, so thank you po, Dr. Paz, for sharing your expertise. God bless po. When we gain additional insight on making and conducting research, it will help me to do better on this area. So proud to be a part of your audience, Ma'am Morales. I was able to connect an actionable problem into a research. So your thoughts will be systematically appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate your research, the way you presented it. Thank you for your
Ayan, sorry
okay.
nililipat ko kasi yung iba ang hahaba.
Yes, ang dami po. Okay, so
Ayan.
another one, ma'am. The lecture series has given me so much courage to pursue research in education, especially in these challenging times. There's so much to look into distance learning. I'm grateful to the speaker for all the comprehensive lectures, workshops. I will definitely be able to utilize my learnings from the lecture. So another one, thank you po, Dr. Morales, for sharing your expertise po to all of us. Nakita ko lang po kayo sa PNU nung undergrad po ako. Ngayon, naka-attend na po ako ngayon ng seminar niyo, ma'am.
Wala namang nakalagay na year dyan, ano? Maganda.
Yes, ma'am, hinanap ko din. And last one, ma'am, blessed to be a blessing. We cannot give what we don't have. So, as what they always said, thank you for unselfishly sharing your expertise. I am blessed to do, act, and empowered to turn my gain insight into action research. God bless. Okay, napakadami pa po, ma'am. I learned a lot. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
Ito mahaba ito. I'll just capture it and then share it to Sir Ian.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan, na iba yung picture ni Madam. Okay, I think there are a lot more. Ayun, sa baba.
Yeah.
Ang dami pa. Okay.
Madami pa sa baba, ma'am.
Yes. Ayan. Okay, maraming salamat din. Salamat sa pakikinig. Meron pa tayong isang araw. Sana maganda rin yung ating mapulot bukas. Wala po kayong tanong?
So far, ma'am, wala mga tanong dito.
Okay, thank
Nakinig
you.
po talaga silang mabuti, ma'am. For our 394 participants, nakinig po sila. So far, wala pong na-raise na questions. So if you are a grant planner and architect, maybe you are popping out your mind, what could you conceptualize already? Kasi package na yung ibinigay sa atin, present kayo ni Dr. Morales sa atin, from the presentation and how you're going to present your from oral presentation as well, kung how are you going to present your action research. So advanced pa nga, we have the learn more about in dissertation writing and even in thesis writing. So a resounding applause once again to our speaker, Dr. Marie Paz Morales. Thank you very much. Okay, so this time, ma'am, meron po magpe-present po sa atin ng task 4.
Yes po. Sino po?
Yes. So may I call on Ma'am Cecil Ada from Juan Sumolong High School.
Ma'am, present ko na po. Ay.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Stop sharing ko po, ano? Okay.
Ay. Ay. Ay, naku. Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear po. You may present it now.
So I just want, good morning, ma'am. Morning, Dr. Paz. Actually, we really learned a lot from you, ma'am. Talagang napakagaling niyo po. Thank you po for the very informative talk. Okay, I just want to share this task 4 because I'm planning to share it also to the department in our school. This is, I just want to find out if this title is really okay. Ma'am, this is my title, Utilizing Facebook in Improving Academic Writing Skill of Senior High School Learners in Remote Learning. Okay,
Okay,
and then
ma'am. So sa title muna tayo. Title, I think it's okay. You have the action, which is utilizing Facebook. And your intention is to improve the writing skill. Okay, that's okay. Sige po.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. This will be conducted, of course, in the. I will be using the participants, and the participants or the respondents will be the senior high school learners. And since this is a remote, since we're in a remote learning modality, I decided to use Facebook as the tool wherein I can improve the academic writing skill of the learners. Now, the time frame that I have here is from November to June 2021. I hope I can finish this, or we can finish this with the group, because as I said, I'm planning to have collaboration with the English teachers, of course, in our school. But ma'am, is it okay if I will, instead of using academic writing in the junior high school, they will use creative writing?
Pwede naman, ma'am.
So because utilizing Facebook in improving creative writing skill, or
Yes
if
po.
it is in
Kasi ma'am,
journalism, utilizing Facebook and improving journalistic writing skill.
baka mas mahirap kapag academic writing kasi usually ang ginagawa sa Facebook ay more on advertisement, di ba ma'am? It's more of creative. Tama po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Opo.
Yeah. So also the part this one, as you said, we have to include the global trend related to the study. So I decided to get some information, of course, using the website. And this information is about the Department of Education's mandate regarding the research. Ma'am, I cannot move the file. Ma'am Sharon? Ma'am?
Yeah?
Ma'am, pwede po ba yung sa file po na nasa inyo, ma'am? Yun na lang po send.
Okay. So, Sir Arlon Cadiz, please. We have
Kasi
that file, Sir Arlon.
Ma'am, pasend na po.
Na-send ko na po, ma'am, sa inyo. Kay Ma'am Sharon sa research.
Okay.
Ma'am, stop share ko po muna ho. Sensya na po.
Ma'am, can you please resend it again? Can you please resend? So I haven't received it yet.
Ma'am, teka ma'am. I have to... Mama. Sige ma'am, I'll try.
Maybe you can send here in the chat box, ma'am.
Okay ma'am. Where? File. Nawala po yata ako eh. Actually, ma'am, pwede ko naman siguro, ma'am, i-mention na lang.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, na-send ko po sa inyo, ma'am. Teka, nawala na po dito sa ano ko.
Okay, saan ba na-send, di ma?
Pasensya na po.
Okay, ma'am, pa-resend na lang po ulit. Hindi ko po nakita dito.
Ma'am Sharon, baka nasa message request mo siya?
Wala din po, ma'am eh.
Wala pa rin?
Yes.
Okay. Dali lang po, ma'am.
Try mo po, Ma'am Cecil, isend po sa Messenger.
Ito. Ma'am, sinend ko na po sa inyo, ma'am, sa ano ngayon, sa... Ma'am, na-receive niyo po?
Sa akin po, ma'am.
Opo, sa iyo, ma'am. Sa research po, research DepEd QC.ph.
Check na po. Research coordinator.
Receive niyo po, ma'am.
Wala po talaga, ma'am, na-screen. Nakita ko na po sa ano.
Wait po, ako na lang po mag-present. Wait lang.
Na-retrieve mo na siya yan?
Sir,
Ala, bakit di ka kumuha ng plato niya doon? Magagalit.
Thank you po yan.
At saka yung lalagyan niya doon. Kasi meron niya.
Magla-lunch na sila.
Lang po.
na-receive mo, Sir Ian po.
Opo, wait lang, ma'am, ha.
Thank you, sir. Saglit lang po.
It's alright.
Nakikita na po.
Opo,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Pakihan ko lang po. Wait
Thank,
lang.
yeah, thank you,
Ayan.
sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay na yan, sir. Ayan.
litan mo pa ng konti. Sir, pakilitan po ng konti.
Pakilitan, wait lang.
Ay, nawala.
Ayan. Nasaan part ka na po, ma'am?
Sir, sa ano pa lang? Sa teka, nawala yung sa laptop. Yan, sir. So may continue. So the rationale of the action research. Thank you, Sir Ian. It talks about the Department of Education mandate on action research. And then I also got information about national, and this is national, not global, of course. And I am planning to get more, of course, for related literature. Ma'am, and the reason why this study, this is done because, or this is taught because the writing skills can help learners to improve their independence, fluency, and creativity. And mastery of these skills will make the students communicate better in various ways. The aim of the action research is to examine the effectiveness of remote learning activity using Facebook to improve learners' academic writing skill. It is also observed that although students are in their senior high school years, they still show weakness in writing. However, it is not too late to improve the said skill to prepare them for college. That's the reason why this title is taught, or this research will be done. Also, the penetration of information technology, especially in social media, is very high, especially in the use of Facebook, which is one of the popular social media trends. From the distribution of age, from that distribution of age, it appears that most Facebook users are students, especially now that we are engaged in online or remote learning. That's why I am sharing this to you, just to find that it is okay to have this Facebook as a tool in this particular research. The researcher believes that enhancing writing skill is not impossible in online learning, where students spend almost all of their time in their house. And activities for writing skill upgrading can also improve learners' mental health in this time of pandemic, because we believe writing is a medicine also. Okay, for those who are stressed, sometimes those people who are stressed, or students who are stressed, they can release their stress through writing. Okay. And the research may also promote awareness to the learners the importance of correct content and grammar in writing. The researcher may use also both synchronous and asynchronous discussions in this study, because I'm planning to have our own group, an exclusive group for the participants and respondents. Now, here are my questions, Ma'am. I have here 4, but of course, I have to reduce it into 3 or 2. I just want to show this to you, Ma'am, so that if you have some suggestions. What is academic writing and its significance to the learner's writing domain? How can Facebook be used as a modality in improving writing skill of senior high school learners? By utilizing Facebook, will senior high school learners show improvement in their academic writing skill? Will the remote learning activity using Facebook effective in improving academic writing skill of learners?
Ma'am, sa
Yes,
questions
ma'am.
tayo, no?
Opo,
Yung
ma'am.
number 1 kasi, dinidiscuss po yan talaga sa introduction. So, pwede na nating tanggalin. Tapos
Okay,
yung
ma'am.
how can Facebook be used as a modality can be retained kasi how process ang i-discuss mo dito. Pero yung 3 and 4 are basically the same. You are emphasizing remote learning and the activity that you will be implementing is Facebook, ano? So,
Yes,
pwedeng i-collapse nyo na lang po yung 3 and 4. So, parang dalawa lang talaga, ma'am, yung questions.
Okay, ma'am. So, it will be 1 and 2, ma'am?
2 and merge 3 and 4.
Okay, ma'am. The methods, with regards to methods or research methods, the senior high school grade 11 learners are the target respondents in this action research. Convenience sampling will be used by the researcher in determining the respondents. Students' ability and internet connectivity will be considered in the selection of population. Now, the quantitative research will utilize non-experimental design, specifically descriptive design. On data gathering methods, this research will use also, sir, ayan, sir. We'll use also the collection in the new, data collection in the new normal, which you shared to us last time. Okay, it includes online survey, interview, and then also testing. The implementation of the action plan will begin in December of this year. I hope. The initial phase of the research includes understanding learners' circumstances and comprehending their characteristics and writing ability. The result of observation will identify the things that need to be improved and the best online writing activities to use. In the implementation phase, there will be online testing where students will take a weekly timed essay exam. I plan to give them a weekly timed essay exam for 3 months, and outputs will be submitted using Facebook. Can be Ma'am Messenger, the use of Messenger. Students, but I am going to orient them about the research using synchronous, Ma'am. And students in the Facebook group are encouraged to post comments on posted writing. Is it okay, Ma'am, if I will encourage the students to post their comment also?
Senior high school naman, ma'am, ano?
Yes, ma'am.
Opo. Okay lang naman, ma'am. Meron kami sa Normal Lights na isang article yata on Facebook utilization. Parang, at saka sa Average, parang actually yung mga, anong tawag doon? Language kasi, no? Hindi ko maalala mamang term, pero parang ginamit niya to take a look at the characteristics and traits of learners of different languages. Kasi parang Cebuano, etc. So, gumamit na rin ng mga Facebook. Okay naman po.
So, on the data analysis, the researcher will use the rubric with the following criteria: content organization, mechanics, creativity in checking students' output. Creativity yan, in checking students' outputs. And outputs will be graded based on the said rubric. The writing activity of the respondents and the checking of their outputs will be asynchronous mode, while the interview to get feedback will be synchronous using Google Meet in the classroom. Google Classroom. The researcher will observe the results and examine evidences of improvement. And for the ethical, I'm asking you if I can allow the students to comment because of the ethical considerations. Now, participants are informed about the research and are asked for voluntary consent. Okay, for the ethical considerations. Also, the participants are informed on online guidelines in research, such as A, submit output in created research group only for confidentiality. Show honesty in every uploaded output in the group, and show respect to co-participant in giving comments in the messenger as partner. So this, yes ma'am.
Ma'am Cecil,
Yes,
paano mo ba papagawa ito? Kasi what you can do as an option para at least hindi broadcast sa buong public yung mga comments nila, you can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
can make a Facebook group. So dun
Yes,
sa
ma'am.
Facebook group ay gawin yung private, so kayo-kayo lang. So
Opo,
ibig sabihin, kung isasama niyo yun sa guidelines, mahingian niyo ng consent yung mga participants kung okay sa kanila ang posting. Kasi ang
Okay.
kaibahan ng ordinary na Facebook, sa Facebook nila magpo-post, ang usual na problem, sino-sino makakakita, di ba ma'am? At least
yung
kung
mga
Facebook,
mamunisip po.
oo. At least kung Facebook group kasi, kayo-kayo lang.
Opo.
Ayun, oo. So,
Yes,
baka
ma'am,
pwedeng
that's-
option yun.
Opo, okay. So, yes ma'am, we will be creating our own group for confidentiality and also for respect to the participants or respondents. And then ma'am, yan, ma'am, these are I have only 2 references right now, but of course I'll be looking for more references. Okay. So I
Ayan,
have a Gantt chart here.
Yes
I don't know
po.
if it is correct. Ma'am, researching and planning
researching.
will be done. Actually, I started really researching for this school year. And then, October, hopefully, and November na pala, ma'am. Ayan, right?
3 months po, no?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I already have my action research proposal using our form in the school.
Apo.
Okay.
Collecting data.
But I am not really sure if it is correct because last time I used my research is about effectivity of PowerPoint, interactive PowerPoint presentation in remote learning. That is my first choice, but I do not know if this will be okay because I am not really good here. I have to study peer deck or other interactive, ma'am.
Si Sir
Okay,
Ian po
then-
makakasagot ng form. Ma'am, sa collecting data tayo. Kasi kapag nag-implement ka ng January, hindi po, sa Gantt chart po. Ayan po. Sa collecting data, pag nag-implement ka po kasi ng January, magkukolect ka na rin naman ng data dito, di ba ma'am?
Opo, ma'am.
Opo. So,
Kasi
paki-check
check na
na
rin
lang
po,
po.
opo.
Opo.
Opo, ma'am. Ay,
So,
sorry.
parang yung collecting data, assessing and validating collected data, magkasama na lang, ma'am.
Okay, yes,
So,
ma'am.
ang gawin natin, pag may na-collect kang data, pa-check natin sa ating mga estudyante kung tama yung kanilang, yung mga nakalagay doon. That's one way of validating your data. Like, for example, may comment, may kinuha nyo, kinapture nyo yung comment, may ano sila, say sila na, ma'am, hindi ganyan yung ibig ko sabihin. Ganun po ba?
Okay, ma'am. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Sige
So,
po.
that ends my presentation. Thank you for the patience of those who are of the participants. Thank you.
So, si Ma'am
Thank you,
Cecil
Sir
po
Ian.
ay coordinator po, research. Tama po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Opo. So, ganun ang gusto natin sanang mangyari, di ba, Sir Ian? Our representatives will be giving some advice also to our co-teachers in the school. Ano po?
Yes, ma'am.
Opo. Yan. Parang lock session na rin ninyo.
Opo.
Yan. Yan. So, yung hindi yun yung formal na form ni Sir Ian. Yun lang yung ating task 4. Pero yung mga nakalagay doon, pwede ninyo nang i-copy doon sa mga parts na meron yung talagang final form ni Sir Ian. Nila Sir Ian. Okay po. Thank you, Ma'am Cecil.
Thank you, Dr. Paz. Thank you po. Thank you, Sir Ian. And Ma'am Sharon.
Salamat po.
Thank you, Ma'am
Sharon, so
Cecil.
siguro pwede na po tayo sa mga ways forward lang.
Yes, thank you once again, Ma'am Cecil Aga, and thank you so much, Dr. Maripaz Morales, for our ways forward. So may I call on our Senior Education Program Specialist, Planning and Research, Sir Ian Kenneth D. Magabili.
Good morning po sa lahat. Though malapit na mag-lunch time, pasensya na po nag-extend lang tayo today. Sir Lon, pwede pong pa next slide po. Ayan. So, for the evaluation link for today's session po, session 4, paki-screenshot na po or paki-picturean po yung link. So, it's bit.do/rflexi session 4 eval. And then sa mga nagtatanong pa rin po, though sa ating poster, sa ating mga reminders, and sa ating pong pinaka-session, lagi naman po namin pinopost yung link ng materials. So ina-update po namin kung may bago ng may bago ng recordings, sinisave po namin agad dyan sa Google Drive. So paki-access po lahat sa link na to, bit.do/rfleximaterials2020. Okay po. Next. So ang ating pong session 5 will be tomorrow. So this will be our last session, but not last for magkakaroon pa rin tayo next year. Okay po. So same time, 8:30 a.m. po hanggang 11 a.m. ang ating last session tomorrow, session 5. Next po. And then, appreciations given to our resource speaker, Dr. Maripaz E. Morales, the Schools Division Office, Quezon City officials, and the Schools Division of Pasig City for our Zoom account. Next. To our session moderators, yung aking mga lead District Research Core Group. Maraming salamat sa tulong. And then sa mga EPS na nagsusupport, sila Ma'am Derly, sila Sir Feliciano, maraming salamat po. And other SDO personnel, kasama ko sa SGOD and mga ibang personnel like sa records and sa payroll. And our very supportive elementary and secondary school heads na talagang tumutok sa ating Research FLEXI, ang ating mga school research coordinators and teachers. Maraming salamat po. Yan. And see you po tomorrow. Sir Lon, paki-flash po ulit yung link. Ayan. Para po makita po ng lahat. So maraming salamat po. Pakisagutan na lang po yung link. Maraming salamat.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Ian. So see you again tomorrow. And have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Maripaz Morales. See you tomorrow.
See you po tomorrow. Thank you rin po sa pakikinig.
Thank you po. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.